numbers, and I mean, other than obviously the positive ones we're seeing right here against the Yankees, 3-8 doesn't mean a thing. He does want to go to Boston. He knows that it's quite an honor to make the American League team. Also knows if he doesn't go, there are a lot of people that are deserving. So I would imagine, as always, we will see a strong performance, even though the numbers don't support how well he's pitched here at Yankee Stadium.
What's better than baseball to cap off a 4th of July weekend? We're all set to do that for you. We'll try to stay cool, too. It's coming up next. First pitch on HTS. Sears. Tonight's Maryland Lottery Baseball Scratch-Off Triple Play winner is Helen T. Hudler of Bel Air, Maryland. Okay, Helen, here's the deal. You've already won $50 worth of scratch-off tickets, and now you're automatically entered in the grand prize drawing. It'll happen on the 6th of August for $100,000. You can enter the Maryland Lottery Baseball Scratch-Off Triple Play game. Send any non-winning ticket to the address on your screen. Tune into every Orioles game to see if you're a winner. And remember now, you have to dare to win. Orioles come up with a victory that ended the 10-game losing slide yesterday. And, this one tonight, if the Orioles can win 2 in a row, will be viewed and scoped and watched by many, as you see the brigade of camera talent ready to bring this one to you here at Yankee Stadium. Well, the Orioles trying to split this series against the New York Yankees, and let's put Jim Palmer to work, our new Dodge keys to the game. Where does it start, Jim?
Well, for the Orioles, Mike's record here 3-8, so get some timely hitting. He's pitched well, ERA under 4, and for Mike, you just do your job, another quality start. Been able to do that most of the season. For the Yankees, if Knobloch, he's 2 for his last 13. He got a double yesterday, a single on Saturday. If he gets on base along with Jeter, they have a chance to score some runs. And for Pettit, Andy struggled against the rest of the league, but 9-1 against the Orioles lifetime, hoping to get back on track with a team that he usually handles well.
Let's take a look at our Sac Creek Concrete Mix umpiring crew here tonight. A little bit different because of the Greg Kosk heat exhaustion that he suffered yesterday. So Dan Morrison will work home plate. Ed Hickox, Larry Barnett, they've been here all weekend, and Bill Miller has been summoned from the American League office here in New York City. He will finish out this final game of the series for Greg Kosk, and Kosk obviously going to take a day off and try to get himself back on the right side of things, as maybe this weather will break in the next couple of days. Andy Pettit on the mound, glittering against the Orioles in his career, winning 9 of 10. But Jim, Andy Pettit has been had trouble simulating correct fastball arm speed when he's thrown his changeup, and it's been a big problem.
Well, it's not a pitch that he's been able to get over. I talked to him a couple of days ago, and he said after having some ligament problems with his left elbow, his throwing elbow, said his arm feels fine, maybe throwing a little bit too hard, but the two-seamer and that changeup away, something he hadn't been able to establish over the last couple of years, and I'm talking years where he's had outstanding seasons. I'm talking 21-8 in '96, 18 wins the next year in '97, 16 last year. He's always had that good riding fastball in the cutter, a curveball every once in a while, but the changeup non-existent. Worked a lot on it between starts, and we'll see if it's effective tonight.
Andy Pettit, as we know, has been a big winner here. B.J. Surhoff has been a huge winner in terms of what he's accomplished for the Orioles, too, as he and Terry Crowley chat about things after B.J. broke things up and won it for the Orioles yesterday with his grand slam home run. Yeah, trying to keep cool here tonight, huh?
I think they have the heat on.
It does feel like
over the whole city. I mean, actually in this booth. Oh, okay. That has something to do with George. Maybe we didn't wish him a birthday effusively enough yesterday.
Well, I think we did.
Happy birthday to George.
Here's Brady Anderson on another magnificent night for Orioles baseball, as Andy Pettit will miss with that cut fastball. Pettit in a Cy Young Award battle a couple years ago in 1996, and lost out, finished second to Pat Henkin. One thing that left-handed hitters are able to do is hit Andy Pettit. He gets right-handed hitters out better than the lefties.
Well, he does. Over the last 3 years, lefties hitting over 300 to 310, and righties 255. And the reason is he doesn't have a real effective breaking ball against left-handers. He likes to run the ball in on the right-handers. Again, with the lefties, he's not able to make that pitch, because usually when he throws the right-handers, he throws balls in off the plate.
Rio to Anderson. There's your called strike. Brady at 264 as he leads it off here against Andy Pettitte. Of course, with the 4 leadoff home runs this year in 1999, 33 in his Orioles career. 3-1 from Pettitte. Line drive, not blocked. Will reach to his left to haul it in. Brady Anderson trying to get a base hit started to right field, but Chuck Knobloch leaning to his left, full extension to pick it off.
Well, Knobloch with 15 errors on the year, but they're mostly throwing errors. Makes a very nice play right there. And Brady, all you can do is hit the ball hard. He does that, and Knobloch there to rob him of a base hit. Orioles very aggressive on the bases. 19 times they tried to steal. They've been successful 16. But Pettitte holds runners very well.
It's Mike Bordick now looking at a Pettitte fastball that misses. Mike had a big hit in the scheme of things yesterday, Jim. Facing Ramiro Mendoza. Orioles down 1 and went the other way with a base hit to right to tie the game in the 7th.
Well, if you weren't with us yesterday, in a 3-2 ball game, they walked Brady Anderson to try to bring Bordick up against the sinker ball of Mendoza, hoping to get out of the inning with 1 pitch. Well, he hit that single to right, that loaded him up, tied the game, and then Surhoff hit the grand slam. I mean, there's no big mystery. I mean, Mike Bordick is lifetime batting average in the high 250s. He's hitting 282 as we look at B.J. Surhoff waiting on deck. And that has a lot to do with his ability to hit the ball the other way, something he didn't do last year.
Bordick awaits a 2-1 from Andy Pettitte. There's your cutter that rides in the hands of the right-handed hitter, but
when he gets way ahead, because he needed to throw a strike, it's 2-1 here. He tries to throw that ball off the plate. You can see Girardi just presenting it to Dan Morrison, the home plate umpire, just trying to give him a chance to call it a strike.
Missed with the backdoor breaking ball. Mike Bordick this year, as he faces Andy Pettitte tonight, absolutely scalding against left-handed pitching. Leads the American League at 433. This up from 180 last year.
Yeah, 178, something like that. Brady, the second lowest in the American League last year at 184. That has a lot to do with plate coverage.
Andy Pettitte missing on the 3-2 fastball, so the O's have their first base runner of the night, the 1-out walk to Mike Bordick. Well, we mentioned Andy Pettitte in 10 career decisions against the Birds, very much enjoying a 9-1 record. However, when you look at some of the hitters that he faces, you'll see some strong individual numbers from Anderson, Surhoff, and Albert Bell.
And 2 of those, remember, as we mentioned, left-handed hitters, Anderson and Surhoff. And of course, Albert Bell can hit anybody when he's hot, or in the second half of the 98 season, should I say.
Or 97. Well, B.J. Surhoff, we're going to get into the All-Star voting in the American League. It has been, the starting team has been officially released. Of course, B.J. Not a part of it, even though those numbers are very glittering in the first half of the season. It's kind of grating, Jim, as Surhoff looks at a called strike. And again, not that I didn't expect this, but in the fans voting, B.J. Surhoff doesn't finish in the top 10 in the American League outfield.
So I guess we should agree with Juan Gonzalez of the Texas Rangers, who said it's a popularity contest.
However, I don't agree with Juan if he's not going to show up.
I agree with him 100% about the popularity, but not about his attitude about showing up or not. I think Mike Mussina said it best. He said, listen, I mean, it's a real privilege to go to the game. And of course, BJ, in fact, Joe Torre saying today, he said, you know, it's very exciting for him as a manager to name people that are worthy of being at the All-Star game that have never been there before. So hopefully he had BJ in mind when he was talking about those kind of players. Pettitte, it's very difficult to run on, usually anywhere from 7 to about 13, 14 pickoffs. 7 out of 12 as far as being successful this year. Great pickoff move.
Just getting going here in sweltering New York City tonight as B.J. Surhoff awaits a 2-1 from Pettitte. 3-1. Well, Pettitte going deep in counts to Anderson, Bordick, and now to B.J. Surhoff.
He's just much more comfortable against right-handed batters.
Oh, is that the same type of maybe the mental phobia that Chuck Knobloch is going through?
I think it's just a matter that he can't make the quality pitches against the lefties as much as he'd like. See, when he came up, and I was at broadcasting the first time I ever saw him pitch, and I said to myself, boy, this guy reminds me, 22nd draft choice. And yet he's 71 and 41, or 72 and 41 in the major leagues. So he came a long way, but he reminded me of an old-fashioned pitcher. Fastball, curveball, slider, changeup. Nothing tricky. Then he came up with a cutter, which allows him to be so successful against righties, but he's gotten away to be able to make good pitches outside part of the plate against left-handed hitters.
Let's watch Mike Bordick not going as Andy Pettitte shows him his pickoff move. Not the A move.
I think a lot of it has to do with you're taught as a pitcher to throw to the glove, but in reality, a lot of times you throw off the batter. So when you're facing a righty, you see the batter. When you're facing a lefty, you don't see him as well.
Bordick not going. 3-2 pitch fouled off as Pettitte ran it in on Surhoff's hands. Oh, it's 96, 97, and 98, although the wins have come down, Jim, from 20 to 18 to 16 in the last 3 years. But Pettitte was right there through those 3 seasons with John Smoltz as the 2 top winners in all of Major League Baseball. The 3-2 to Surhoff. Base hit center field. B.J. Surhoff now with a hit streak at 12 games. A base hit at least in 33 of the last 34. As Surhoff just continues to roll along here in New York.
Well, you fight off the tough pitches. You finally get one you can handle. And, of course, when you're hitting .336 and you've hit in 32 out of your last 33 games, now make it 33 out of 34, you're not missing your pitch very often. And we saw that yesterday with the grand slam. 5 RBIs on a very warm afternoon in New York.
The O's have something brewing here in the opening inning against Andy Pettitte. Albert Bell not in right field tonight, serving as the DH. Ground ball up the middle, base hit center field. Bordick is turned third. He'll come to the plate. No throw as Surhoff motors on over to third, and the Orioles are on the board on Albert Bell's RBI base hit to take a quick 1-0 lead.
Andy Pettitte gave up 7 earned runs in his last start against the Tigers.
Number 18.
And the Orioles trying to take advantage of maybe a loss of confidence. And pretty routine ground ball, except a lot of overspin. Jeter playing him more to pull the ball. Can't get it. Bernie Williams is going to see if he has a play at third, but no, he doesn't. And Surhoff all the way around to third. So first and third for Jeff Conine.
49th RBI of the year for Albert Bell as Conine looks at the fastball for the called strike.
I think an amazing number. I was talking to Jim Codd, who broadcast for the Yankees. He said when Pettitte has given up 7 earned runs or more, he's only done that 9 times in his career. His next game, he's gone 8-1. But the Orioles right here have a chance to maybe change that number.
The 0-1 to Conine. Pettitte turned a pretty good fastball loose upstairs.
I think the first time I ever saw Andy Pettitte pitch, he started in Baltimore, got knocked out, came back the next night and got a win in relief. And here he throws the high heater right by Jeff Conine. Good fastball hitter. Made him expand his zone.
Until you get up and talk to Andy Pettitte and get up close, big young man, 6'5", 235 pounds. Jammed Conine and popped him up. Easy chance for Tino Martinez. Pettitte makes a big pitch there as he gets Conine with a second out here in the opening inning.
You know how many times we talk about pitchers that have great split-fingered fastballs or forkballs? They want to get you to 2 strikes to be able to throw it. What Pettitte does is throws that cutter, and the cutter is he holds it just like a fastball, but a little bit off center, and it just comes right into the right-handers. And that was all over Jeff Conine's fist. Broke his bat.
There's Rich Amaral. Rich getting a start tonight in right field. Just had 5 base hits in his last 12 plate appearances, but they have been pretty scattered out, rather sporadic, as he doesn't get a lot of time with the outfield of Surhoff, Anderson, and Bell.
What do you have, about 3 starts in June?
It was just 3.
So he thinks he's hot, but he can't really remember. Is that the deal?
That'd be a good way to put it. Called strike to Amaral. Rich has made 1 start in right field here to 4, so this is his second. He started 7 times in center field. His 9th start of the year, and this is the exact by the number halfway point for the Orioles tonight. It's game number 81 of the 162 game ride. That is a Major League Baseball season. Ground ball that's foul, so Pettit is quickly ahead at 1-2.
I think this is a good chance for Ray Miller, the Oriole manager, to get Rich Amaral in there. Number one, it helps your defense. I mean, he is a much better defensive right fielder or center fielder than Albert Bell. So, Albert doesn't like the DH. It certainly didn't affect him. He already has an RBI. Mike Messina, it's always nice to be out there with guys that can run him down. Big outfield here in New York. And Baines only up 4 times. 1 for 4 off the Pettit. So you give Harold a rest, help your defense, and hope that Amaral can help you with the bat. Palazzo.
A lot of pitches here in the opening inning coming out of the bullpen for Andy Pettit.
And we saw that with Roger Clemens yesterday, and it took its toll. Maybe not quite as, probably a little bit hotter today, but maybe not that direct sun we had yesterday in that 1:30 start. But it got to Clemens in the 7th inning.
The runners on the corners. Amaral awaits a 1-2. Breaking ball right back to Pettit. He'll handle the comebacker inning over. Orioles going to have to settle for 1. They had a chance to do more damage, but Pettit shut it off. 1-0 Birds. The New York Yankees. Messina allowed 5 earned runs in his 6 1/3 innings of work at Toronto. An Orioles 10-9 loss. 10-inning loss, of course. And Aaron Fletcher drilled the 3-run home run to win it. So those 5 earned runs, though, represent the second highest amount of runs that Mike Messina has given up this year.
Yeah, he struggled a little bit. Also, Sean Green, who I think hit his 23rd home run yesterday, who last year was 30-30 guy, he had a pretty good pitch over the left center field fence. So it was a matter of maybe, I thought Mike had pretty good control. I just watched that game, didn't broadcast it. It's just that Toronto hit him pretty well. They went with the pitches. But it is now 23 minutes since he walked in from a left field bullpen. And that long innings, it's a hot night. You want to sit down and cool off a little bit, but it has been a while. See if that affects him. Probably not, the way he can pitch.
Chuck Knobloch looks at the call strike from Messina, leading it off. Knobloch at 262 on the year. Knobloch had a dreadful month of May. Only had 167, and his on-base percentage was just at 250. And that after he came out of the chute swinging the bat very well in the month of April.
Well, he told me he misses Terry Crowley. And I mean, that's serious. Terry Crowley, who was obviously the batting instructor for many years with him. And one year he hit 343, good hit for average, on base percentage, stole over 60 bases. But he just said he wished that Terry wasn't working with a team like the Orioles, because then he could call him and maybe do a little bit of work. But, and Crow said he just thinks maybe his swings got a little bit longer. We talked to Chris Chambliss when we first came in this series, and he said, he's got to be able to bring the ball down. Yeah, he hit a double yesterday, but most of the fly balls he hits, even though he's got 20 leadoff home runs, fly balls are usually outs. Line drives and ground balls get on base for Jeter and the rest of the guys.
Fought off a knuckle curve, did Chuck Knobloch.
But don't you think, though, if you've made 15 errors and every ground ball is it almost seems like a life-threatening event, that it's got to affect your hitting?
Oh, sure. You could say it doesn't. You can say I can separate it. But I think human nature, Jim, tells us that that's difficult to do.
Especially in this town.
Oh, yeah. Line to right. If it stays fair, it's trouble. There's a fair ball and extra bases for Chuck Knobloch. Amaral's throw not in time. A leadoff double for the Yankee leadoff man. Double number 18 on the year for Knobloch. He was behind in the count, but like he got a fastball, Jim, and just went with it.
And it's a pretty good pitch. Thigh high outside part of the plate. Look at his approach. Head behind the ball. Slices it into the corner. I think we saw yesterday Guzman with a couple of strikeouts on the inside portion of plate. He definitely likes the ball better away than in. So sometimes what appears to be a good pitch isn't.
There's Derek Jeter now. It's the same way the game began yesterday. Jeter with a drive to right. Amaral to put it away. Knobloch tags. He'll come on over to third to beat the throw of Amaral. And Jeter out, first pitch swinging on the fly ball to right.
So already a good at bat by Derek Jeter. When you've been getting on base as much as he has, 77 out of the last 78 games, but he gets the job done. It's like hitting that ground ball to the right side, except he tried to get a base hit the ball that hard. Knobloch good base running, and now you have a pretty good matchup. Messina versus O'Neill.
Now, Paul O'Neill took the collar yesterday. He was shut down by Juan Guzman and Scott Kamenicki going 0 for 4. And hadn't had a base hit in his last 10 here in the series.
And they're going to concede the run. And I'm a little bit surprised here. The way Messina can hold runners, you don't worry about O'Neill stealing. 333 lifetime hitter off of Mike. Well, maybe Ray Miller looking at Andy Pettick's earned run average, or almost 6 runs a game, saying, listen, you know, 1 run's not going to beat us. We have a 1-run lead. Let's stay away from the big inning. So any kind of ground ball just about anywhere with Knobloch speed to the infield is going to score a run.
Messina's 1-0 to Paul O'Neill. Ground ball to second. Knobloch will score on the bouncing ball out from Paul O'Neill. We'll give O'Neill the RBI, and we're quickly tied at 1 apiece here in the opening inning. For Paul O'Neill on the year, that is RBI number 49. The Yankees get back to 1 that the Orioles got from Mike Messina.
Now O'Neill now 0 for his last 11, but a very productive out. As we mentioned, infield back, just hits a routine ground ball, gets the run in.
There's Bernie Williams, and the base is empty and 2 down. Bernie Williams at 343, one of the top hitters in the American League. Pretty much be sure that Joe Torre will have his center fielder in the all-star roster of the American League, even though he was not voted in.
You know, Lofton, Ramirez, and Griffey, the top 3 vote getters.
4 Cleveland Indians of the 8 position players, and we're going to show you that in a minute. The all-star voting completed in the American League, and the starting squad named.
How about the home running hitting contest in Fenway?
Should be fun.
Oh yeah. But you can't tell how far they go over the left field wall.
I think you need to mark it out on Lansdowne Street. That's the only way to do it. All right, here's our all-star game starters. You'll notice 4 Cleveland Indians. Jim Thome, former Oriole Robbie Alomar, Manny Ramirez, and Kenny Lofton. Cal Ripken making another all-star start with Ivan Rodriguez. Nomar Garciaparra, late, I mean real late, as in maybe over the weekend, edged out the Yankees' Derek Jeter. And obviously here in New York, the Yankee fans, a lot of media that cover the Yankees, a little bit, let's say, bewildered, Jim, but games in Fenway, and it was a late rally to the ballot box for the Red Sox fans behind Garciaparra.
Yeah, the word maybe an internet late rally.
Came up and got a piece of Bernie Williams.
Well, he swung at a 3-0 fastball. Joe Torre gave him the green light, and then Mike comes back with a changeup. Williams with good lifetime numbers off Mike Messina, 357 lifetime hitter. A lot of people feel that if Mike wins his 10th game, he will be picked for the All-Star team. He said he would love to go. It's quite an honor. And of course, if you don't go, he said, I'm sure there'll be deserving people that go in my place.
think you can book a ticket for Mike Messina to Fenway next week as Bernie Williams fouls it off. See, Jim, the thing that, and I take nothing away from Nomar Garciaparra, but I think anybody you ask around baseball, those that cover the game, you ask them to give them your top 3 American League MVP award candidates right now, that guy'd be one of them. I think unanimously on everybody. Yet, because of balloting over the weekend, like you said, internet, he's not going to start in the All-Star game. You know, you can say no big deal, but I don't know. Obviously,
it is a big deal.
I wish the system would change. I'll just come out and say.
Oh, there's a lot of people. You know, Juan Gonzalez, we joke about that, but you know, he just said it's a popularity contest, and it is in some sense.
Well, Cal Ripken will be there, and Cal, his numbers this year, let's be honest about it, are better than in his deserving to start at third base, better than they have been in some other years when Cal's got the All-Star award. Again, a 3-2 to Bernie Williams. Got him swinging. Well, Mike Messina got Bernie Williams to expand the strike zone. Inning over. Yankees get 1 just as the O's did, and we are tied at 1. Base in the American League for yet another record-setting time. Cal Ripken. Cal, who came out number 1 atop the balloting among the third basemen. Jimmy doesn't miss many All-Star games, does he?
No,
as in none.
And this will be his 17th game. Let's see, elected now 15 times.
Cal at 306 with the 10 home runs, the 32 runs driven in, and of course missed just about a month of baseball. This is lined into the corner and left. Curtis over to backhand. Ripken thinking double. Chad Curtis throw. Not in time. Cal Ripken hit that bag at first, and with some assistance from Marv Foley, he tested the arm of Chad Curtis, who ranged far to the backhand side to go get the baseball in the corner.
Not an easy play for Curtis, but Cal's still swinging the bat well. And okay, what kind of run? You see how sharp he cuts it? He cuts it a little bit, hits the inside of the bag, and a good throw might have been close, but the throw a little bit off. So Knobloch just puts it in his glove and tosses it back to Pettick. And let's see what Jerry Hairston, he's been superlative with the glove over his last 11, but on occasion he's bunted, hit the ball the other way. Very good with runners on second base a couple of times in this series, getting the runner to third with less than 2 outs.
Well, Ripken aboard with that leadoff double, his 17th 2-base hit of the year. Well, Jerry Hairston continuing to rack up the consecutive starts here in the absence of Delino DeShields. DeShields on the DL, continuing to recuperate from the hamstring trouble that he has had to undergo as Hairston bounces it at Scott Brosius. Throw out Jerry Hairston. Ripken advancing to third. Now the Orioles are just 2-7 against the New York Yankees this year, and we thought we'd break down some of the numbers and show you that the Yankees offensively have had the decisive edge in winning 7 of the 9 games. Jim hitting some 43 points higher than are the Orioles against Oriole pitching. The Yankees scoring about a run and a half per game more than the O's, the extra base hits and the home runs. So some of those numbers part and parcel of why the Yankees have beaten the Birds 7 of 9 here in 1999.
And then you go to the big factor, they have Mariano Rivera in the bullpen. He's only failed once, where the Orioles so-called closer Mike Timlin's got 8 blown saves on the year.
Line drive up the middle by Andy Pettitte off the bat of Charles Johnson. It's an RBI base hit to center field as the Orioles jump right back at it to reclaim the lead at 2-1 as Charles Johnson, who's had a pretty tough series here in New York, got the day off yesterday with a little bit of redemption with this rope base hit.
He's hitting about 111 points higher against lefties. And as you mentioned, tough time against Cone, tough against right-handers, about 170. El Duque, Orlando Hernandez, about 170. So he loves to see a lefty, and he takes advantage of it. That batting average now over 350. Only hitting about 232 against righties.
33rd RBI of the year for Charles Johnson. Well, back to the top of the O's lineup for Brady Anderson now in this 2-1 Oriole lead. Brady lined out to Chuck Knobloch, his first plate appearance tonight against Pettit. Brady, too, has made the kind of jump against left-handed pitching, and quite to the extreme that Mike Bordick has, and going from 178 up to around 430. But Anderson's numbers as he faces Andy Pettit definitely better. Jim, he's picked up in the neighborhood of some 60 points, starting tonight at about 246 against lefties.
Yeah, we were in Texas in May. He was down about 170. Problem is he's only about 20 points higher against right-handed pitching, and that's where he's been deficient. And obviously he sees many more righties than lefties, at least early in the game.
Pettit again has fallen behind 3-0. Same scenario in the opening inning as he threw 3 bad ones to Brady Anderson.
And I would imagine that Ray Miller will give him the green light here, 3-0. Now look for a fastball middle in. You get your pitch, let it go. Well, apparently not. That ball right down the middle. Or as they say here in New York, right down Broadway. Or Fifth Avenue, Park Avenue, Lexington, First, Second, whatever. It's right down the middle.
Brady awaits Andy Pettit now. See where Pettit's going to go. 3-1. Side corner to run that count full. See if Ray Miller wants to start Charles Johnson here. 3-2 pitch against Pettit. With 1 out in the second.
Well, if you're ever going to start a slow guy, this is the time you want to do it. You have a guy with pretty good numbers. You have a catcher that has to frame the pitch, otherwise it's ball 4. It'll take a little bit longer, present it to the home plate umpire.
Not much of a lead for Johnson, not going as Andy Pettit walks Brady Anderson.
I think the problem in looking down at Charles Johnson, Andy Pettit's move is so good, and Ray Miller knew it. He was actually going back to the bag when he delivered the ball home. So almost impossible for him to get a jump. And if, of course, you give him the go-ahead, he probably would have gotten picked off. And there's Mel Stottlemyre. He was wondering how that worked. I haven't seen him throw a changeup. Talking about how he was trying to get into where he was throwing his fastball and changeup with the same arm action, hasn't had a chance. Constant pressure here into the second inning.
Pettit trying to turn the pitch over toward the outside corner. Might have got a piece of Joe Girardi. Girardi flexing that hand down at the plate. Well, Jim, for the changeup to be successful, as we take a look at Girardi getting clipped right there, you've got to have the same type of arm action as you do on your fastball, or else it's not going to be successful.
And also, when you throw your two-seamer, you have to stay on the inside of the ball. You have to understand when you throw a cutter, you stay on the outside of the ball. So that's the problem for Pettit. I don't know if we have a camera angle where we can show this, but I kind of brought a baseball up here today because I was talking to him, and he said, you know, when I throw my cutter, I get on the left side of the ball. When I'm throwing my changeup or my two-seamer, I'm going to stay on the inside. When he said, I just really can't do that. So, and if we, I'll try to show you when we have a little bit of time what he's trying to do.
Right now, Andy Pettit has gotten ahead of Mike Bordick. Orioles with a couple aboard and have the 2-1 lead. Pettit's 0-2 to Bordick. And there's a cut fastball. That's a pitch he wants to get the right-handed hitters out with.
And that's a pitch he throws when he gets ahead. See, because what he wants Mike Bordick to do is expand the strike zone. You can see him jump away. And Girardi brings it back, hoping that Dan Morrison, the home plate umpire, will give him the call.
Call there, came right back with the same pitch. Now Andy Pettit just ran that fastball in on the inside corner, boring in under the hands of Bordick.
Just a little cutter. You know he's going to do that. You just hope you have enough command as far as knowing what a strike and what a ball is. And Mike Bordick takes another one. Morrison rings him up. And Pettit now has his first strikeout.
B.J. Surhoff had a base hit his first time to extend the hit streak now to 12 games, as we've talked about. B.J. is on a pace that would establish the all-time Orioles base hit record in one season. Cal Ripken, of course, holds that record. Cal back in '83 at 211 base hits in a year. And B.J. keeps this pace up. He could be in excess of 230 hits by the time the curtain falls on the 3rd day of October. Breaking ball miss. Let's take a look at our American League leaders, State Farm Insurance League leaders in total bases in the American League, and B.J. and Ken Griffey Jr. right there in a dead heat, and Derek Jeter right behind, along with Jose Canseco and Sean Green. Surhoff ahead 2-0. Looping breaking ball.
Well,
called strike.
You learn from your past mistakes. First time up, try to get him out with a fastball. He singled to center this time. 2-0, you know he's not looking for the curveball. And a good hitter, he'll take that pitch because he's got now 2 more strikes.
Three and one on Surhoff.
What, 3 more home runs and 27 RBIs? He'll tie his all-time numbers in home runs and RBIs for the season.
Yeah, with a hot week, he could have the home run thing all accomplished by the time the All-Star break hits. Only 3 away from his career best year of 22. 3-1 pitch. So get out of play.
But the thing is, he's not trying to hit home runs. If you go back to the Grand Slam yesterday, he almost hit it. It appeared almost with one hand.
Yeah.
It was a changeup. Mendoza, I would assume that Torrey brought him in to throw that sinker and maybe get the double play from Bordick. But even then, he goes to the changeup. BJ's out in front, but he's seeing the ball so well. His fundamentals and mechanics are so good. He stays behind. Still has enough to hit it with one hand. Grand Slam home run.
Charles Johnson, Brady Anderson aboard. 3-2 pitch with 2 out. They'll be moving. Fly ball center field. A lot of room for Bernie Williams. That'll do it. Orioles strand 2 as Surhoff flies to center. Birds get 1 in the inning and take the lead. In New York City. Now, when I first heard about it, I got to tell you, my first thought was maybe you put the beret on and we're out with Curtis Sliwa and his guardian angels trying to be the protectors of the city, and everything went bad and you got into a little mishap.
No, I was taking the garbage out, sliced my foot, a lot of blood, came out to the ballpark, talked to Richie Manziel about 2 o'clock. He said, go to the hospital and never come back. And so I went over to Columbia Presbyterian, and Dr. Maxwell Park.
Where's he from?
From San Diego.
Okay.
And I said, what are you doing here? You never have this humidity. You never have this heat down in San Diego. He said, I'm learning to be an orthopod. I said, well, have you ever stitched up a foot before? He said, no, but let's go for it. And here I am.
Let's give it a shot. See, you get 8 stitches in the foot, right?
Right.
And yet you're a gamer, and you're up here, and you made it back to the ballpark in time to take care of
with
business.
the best of them.
Yeah. Tino Martinez facing Mike Messina here in inning number 2.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got Jim Cott and Kenny Singleton over there, and then you got, Cott won more games than I did, about 288 or whatever, and then you got the Hall of Famer Joe Morgan.
There's Cott and Singleton.
Yeah. Joe Morgan's here with John Miller. You got to show up.
It's going to be a game timer. Mike Messina is showing up and trying to get his 10th win of the year as Martinez lost at foul. Let's take a look now at how Mike Messina fares against some of the Yankee hitters, and there are a couple that have put up very good numbers. In fact, look at the first 4 in the order. Now block Jeter, O'Neill, and Williams. The dip comes with Martinez and Davis, and then 7, 8, and 9. Curtis, Brocious, Girardi, all very strong.
And you wondered why Curtis, right-handed batter's in there. You could tell by that number, and good lifetime numbers. And of course also Shane Spencer, who was handed the regular job and was hitting very well, a regular heartbeat. So it's now between Leday and Curtis. Curtis was more experienced, better numbers. He's in there.
Messina's 1-2. missed away. You see Mike trying to hold that pose as Charles Johnson framed the pitch for the home plate umpire Dan Morrison.
The one thing about Mike Mussina, just great control, but if he's watched the first 2 games, specifically, or actually the first 3 games, when Ponson and Johnson and Guzman, they pitched in a lot. So if you pitch in, it makes you much more effective when you do go away. You just can't be one-dimensional against this team because they have good plate coverage. And by that, I mean they can hit that outside part of the plate. But Jason Johnson on Thursday night, or actually Friday night, was fabulous. And all the Yankees talking about how well he pitched in, and then Ponson took note of that. Guzman maybe more away yesterday, but again, the 8 out of the last 9 outs recorded by strikeout. And then again, a very big strike zone. Why not throw it away?
Ground ball over the head of Mussina. Hairston had Bordick cut in front of him, going across the bag to his left to throw out Tino Martinez. Hairston and Bordick look like to be on a crash course momentarily.
But seniority won out. Hairston with a couple of outstanding plays yesterday. I'll tell you one thing about Tino Martinez, he is not going to get too many leg hits. But you can see Bordick with the better angle going towards first. One of the best shortstops in the American League in general, but on the run, nobody throws better. Not even Jeter. Go in the hole may be a little different story.
Here's Chili Davis now. Mussina will miss with the knuckle curve. Chili Davis was very cold when the Orioles came into Yankee Stadium, but he has started to heat it up a little bit. He touched off a long solo home run off Juan Guzman. We showed you that in Orioles report tonight. It had Guzman shaking his head down 3-0 as Davis drives it to left. Surhoff ranging toward the corner to pull it in. B.J. Surhoff hard toward the corner to his right to make the catch on Davis's drive.
Yeah, positioning, very important part of good pitching. And B.J. playing him pretty straight away. He's got great range, great instincts in left, and he just runs it down. He does his Dave Winfield. Remember when Winfield used to climb the wall here? With those 39-inch arms and take away home runs.
George used to get mad, though, because his spikes would rip up portions of the protective padding.
What did he get, a 10-year deal from George? Something like that.
10-year deal for, what was it for? At the time, something like $31 million, I want to say. Does that sound about right? And George started calling him Mr. May.
Well, yeah, because he would have a good May, and he went 1 for 21 in that 1981 World Series.
Bases empty with 2 down. Mike Mussina's been pretty good in July. Mr. July as far as his major league career has gone. Mike 18-8 in the month of July. Not his best month. Early in the year, Mussina is coming out of the gate and had actually more wins in the month of May. 25 big league wins in his career have come in May. The outside corner to get ahead of Curtis at 1-2.
Yeah, really doesn't have. He's never had a bad month. I mean, in the sense,
right,
throughout his career. See, the worst month he's had is 22-14 in August, or 17-10 in September, October. It's still pretty good, isn't it?
Very good. 7 games, 8 games above 500, and on the road, Mike Mussina has a +31. Kind of borrow that plus minus from hockey terminology. 63-32 as a road career pitcher. The 2-2 to Curtis, bounced over the mound. Bordick will charge. Let's go to the top of the third. Orioles have a 2-1 lead here in the Bronx.
On a ball like that, they have all kinds of time. So if they can catch it cleanly, the batter's not going to get out of the box with any kind of. See, he's going to see. He's got to turn. The ball's already in his glove, and Albert's probably a step or 2. Not that he's not running hard, but it just know you got plenty of time, and all it is about making an accurate throw. And Bush has got a good arm.
1 pitch and 1 out as Albert Bell bounces to Scott Brocious. Jeff Conine popped out his first turn, hit with the runners on the corners, and had it induced him to pop up to Tino Martinez. Well, but if you haven't enjoyed watching Jeff Conine swing the bat since putting on an Orioles uniform, you really should start honing in. Fly ball, fairly deep left center field. Room out there in the Death Valley for Bernie Williams to make the grab.
Well, there's your Camden Yards home run right there. I mean, that ball out of Camden Yards, just a can of corn here in Yankee Stadium. We talked about it yesterday. A much bigger park, even though it's been shrunk down from what it was years ago when they remodeled it back in the 70s. Lefties, David Wells. Did he like the pitcher?
Yes, he did.
Most left-handers do.
Well, you should. Like you always talk about, you and Mike Flanagan, if you go out there with a plan and you're a left-hander with some stuff here, you should do very well. Bounce to a charging Derek Jeter. He'll gather and throw out Rich Emerald. That's a 4-pitch inning for Andy Pettit through Bell, Conine, and Emerald. 2-1 Orioles Technologies trivia. Who was the last pitcher to throw a no-hitter against the New York Yankees? Last pitcher to throw a no-hitter against the Yankees.
How did we know that?
We got to give it a go. Think about that a little bit, and we'll revisit.
Well, can we have like an era? A decade? You know, recent history, ancient history.
Let's hone in on the.
I'm hearing ancient history.
Let's hone in on the decade of the 50s. All right, as we think.
You weren't even around, and I was.
Well, I was
somehow
toward the
trying
latter
to get out of the 6th grade or something.
Orioles have a 2-1 lead as we go to the bottom of the 3rd. We're going to think about that.
I think we can give them a year. Don't you think we should give them a year?
All right.
No, 1958 is the year. Because this is serious trivia.
Yes, it is. Chip Winfield, our extraordinary graphics coordinator, sometimes he'll really put us to the test, and all of you too. And this may be one of those nights. Some 41 years ago, you have to go back to come up with this one.
Can you give him another hint? I still don't know who.
What team did he play on?
Yeah, what team did he play on? And you're looking at that uniform right now. He was an Oriole.
Yes, he was. 2-0 to Brocious. Foul right back our way. My partner's not going to be reaching out to try to pick up stray baseballs tonight.
Well, I got the foot elevated, and the ball's going to have to come to me.
Right to you. Have to be right in his lap tonight. There it is. Foot elevated.
I'm over here. The foot is to the right here. And no big deal. No big deal. I mean, the thing that got me the most upset is that Dulio, one of our cameramen, almost drove me to the hospital.
Dulio was trying to take care of you.
Yeah, see, now I will give him credit for that, but I've heard about his driving.
And had you heard right after experiencing it?
Have you ever driven in Puerto Rico or Cuba?
No, I have not.
Okay.
No. There's our man Dulio. Dulio. Yeah, that we'll wave at everybody back here in the Mid-Atlantic region. There's Dulio.
My man is everywhere.
Oh, I was telling you the other day. Yeah, he's a staple up here, though, at Yankee Stadium when the Orioles come to town. Although he begged off on us the other night because you were over at Shea. You were at Shea. That's classified information. Dulio's mad at me now.
A camera's a camera.
Well, but when Dulio's behind it, it comes alive.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It just comes alive. Messina's 3-2 to Brocious. Now Brocious continues to foul off. Mike Messina pitches. You're talking about cameras being cameras. Huh? Well, we are. Nothing's going to be missed tonight. Well, if you're thinking about doing something illegal or fattening, don't tonight. It's going to be found out. Base hit left field. Scott Brocious. And a leadoff base hit for Brocious to start inning number 3. Just the second Yankee base hit tonight against Mike Messina.
I think Mike, and this gives you an idea of what kind of command he has with his ability to throw any pitch at any time. He's only walked 4 in his last 5 starts. He throws him a 3-2 curveball. And Brocious, it appears to me, he's seeing the ball pretty good. Last year hit 300. This year, after a ankle injury, in fact, did it right here in New York against the Orioles back in April. Starting to swing the bat a lot better. 3-run home run to win the game on Friday night. Actually, Saturday afternoon.
Girardi puts down a very nice bunt. Messina has to go to Conine covering to nip Joe Girardi by half step. Sacrifice successful. 1-3 as Messina takes care of Girardi.
Well, I can understand why Joe Torre does this, because Girardi hadn't been playing much, hasn't been hitting much. He's a good bunter, always has been, runs pretty well for a catcher. So try to get that tying run into scoring position. You stay out of the double play. But again, American League Baseball, if you don't get good pitching, you don't get that many outs. You only get 27 out of them. They give one up here. And Mike Messina, that's got to make him happy. I mean, it certainly enhances the chances of scoring a run for the Yankees, but in some senses, because the runner's at second. But it takes away the chance of a big inning.
No, I agree with you. American League Baseball, early portions of games, why would you give up an out? Now, I'm not questioning Joe Torre here or Ray Miller or anyone else. It's just, you laid it out perfectly. I don't have to add to it. It's, you know, Joe thinking maybe runs are going to be tough to come by tonight against Mike Messina. Let's see if we can get it tied up. Some managers will do it, Jim. Some won't this early. 1-0 to Knobloch is fouled back.
Because it's very difficult to manufacture runs against Mike Messina. Now, this is his 18th start. They have stolen one base against him this year. And Ray Miller knows that. Joe Torre knows that. Runners in scoring position, they're only hitting .230. So I agree with it. And Joe Torre probably thinking along, well, we got probably a better chance, but still not real good.
2-1 on Chuck Knobloch.
I will agree with Joe in one sense that, and having been out there a number of times over the course of 20 years, is that it does put a lot more pressure pitching when you have a runner in scoring position than when a runner's at first. I think Don Zimmer's probably telling Joe exactly that right now. It was a joke. You know, he's probably reading my mind.
You have no idea what Zimmer might be saying to Torre at any moment. And that's part of the beauty of it, I guess. Managed the Yankees 21-15. 6 games over while Torre was gone.
Now Joe, this is his 4th year. He's 137 games over 500. 2 world championships.
But as a manager, he came from way under 500, of course, with this success he's had in his 3-year run here in New York.
As a player, I guess what, as a manager, took him what, 2,200 games or something like that to get to 500.
Cena trying to get Knobloch. 2-2 pitch. Knobloch checked it. It did not go, according to Ed Hickox down there at first base.
So that's the pitch that Mike Messina used a lot in Toronto, sometimes with effect, and that's that cutter slider that he came up with. And so we looked at a lot of those numbers. He did not have that pitch, and a lot of those numbers were put up there. But the intent right there, Knobloch fastball count 2-2 to hopefully get him to roll over on that slider. And he already with the double must be seeing the ball well tonight off of Mike, because he laid off a pretty good pitch. Good pitcher's pitch.
Messina trying to win for the 4th time in his career against this Yankee outfit. Ready with a 3-2 to Knobloch. A 1-out walk to Chuck Knobloch. So that'll put a couple of runners aboard and set the table for Derek Jeter. I want to remind you the Orioles will be in Philadelphia Friday night, and O's TV is going to be there. First game in the Orioles series against their interleague rivals from the National League East. The Philadelphia Phillies catch the O's and the Phils July 9th at 7:30 on Comcast in Dover, Delaware, or Comcast in Harrington, Delaware, as well as all the other local stations that carry the Orioles television network. Make sure you check your local listings to be with us at the Vet in South Philly. And Derek Jeter hit the first pitch from Mike Messina in the opening inning. Fly ball to fairly deep right that allowed Knobloch to advance after his leadoff double.
Kind of surprising, Mike Messina. You would think if you hit in front of Derek Jeter, the numbers he's putting up this year, you'd get a fastball to hit 3-2, but Mike threw him the changeup, and it went up and in. So now, as you mentioned, he already hit a rocket to right. Very tough out.
376 hitter is Derek Jeter. It's behind Tony Fernandez. Messina has fallen behind 2-0.
I mean, over his last 133 at bats, he's hitting over 410.
It's a lot of at bats to be above 400 in. It's a pretty long stretch. That's a month of baseball. 2-0. Came in on Jeter's hands as he bounced it foul.
Joe Torre talking to him, he said the amazing thing is that as good as Jeter has been in his first 3 years in the major leagues, he only wants to get better and is willing, like all good athletes, to adopt the work ethic to do it. Worked all winter trying to be able to pull the ball and hit the ball with more top hand. Already 14 home runs. The most he's ever hit is 20.
Ground ball at Bourning. Could be the double play. Hairston, there's one. Turn it over. Oh, Mike Messina making the pitch he needs as Derek Jeter grounds into the quick 6-4-3 double play. And that'll end the mild Yankee threat here in the third as the Orioles turn it over. HDS coverage of Orioles baseball is being brought to you by Pepsi. It's the joy of cola. And also by the new Dodge. It's all about change. A steamy, sultry New York City night. Hope you're enjoying this one tonight. Michael Reghi, Jim Palmer in this 2-1 Orioles lead. Pretty nice pitch from Mike Messina to get Derek Jeter on the twin killing.
Yeah, the little two-seam fastball ran in, down. He tried to, usually insides outs that pitch, but I think the movement of the ball didn't allow him to get to it, and then he hits the routine grounder to Bordick. And they turn the double play, and he's right out of that inning.
Cal Ripken, who doubled his first turn off Andy Pettit and scored the Orioles' second run of the night, leads off in inning number 2. So that two-base hit pushes Cal past his longtime former teammate, now the Orioles bench coach, Eddie Murray, with double number 561. Now in the top 15 in the two-base hit category is Cal Ripken. Ball that's foul just outside the bag.
And if you're a third baseman and shortstop, you better be attentive tonight with Pettit on the mound because of all those cut fastballs.
Awaits an 0-2 from Pettit. Cal will head up to Fenway Park and represent the American League in the 17th All-Star appearance. Play third base. Have a couple of swings at a Green Monster at Fenway. Cal, as always, that opportunity remains something that he holds very near and dear and very special. To be able to represent the Orioles in the American League as an All-Star.
I think anybody that's ever gone is a tremendous thrill. To play against all these guys and for one night you get to be their teammates.
Pettit's 1-2. Again, bounce foul. Down into the battery of cameras, dueling cameras. A lot of the New York media, Jim, asking us about Cal, what's he going to do after this year? Everything you're seeing right now would certainly lend you to believe that Cal will be playing third base for the Orioles in the year 2000. Got fooled there on Pettit's breaking ball. Cal knew it as he heads away from home plate. Pretty nice pitch from Andy Pettit, that looping breaking ball that nipped the outside corner.
Yeah, well, that's a good description because it starts off the plate and you give up on it a little bit because you think it's going to maybe be something else. And What distinguishes a good curveball? You don't pick up the spin. And when you freeze a hitter, even when Cal has been as hot as he has, you know that he did not pick up the spin on that breaking ball, gave up on it, and it did hit the outside part of the plate.
Andy Pettitte now has retired 6 in a row since he walked Brady Anderson with 1 out in the 2nd inning. Yesterday, Juan Guzman, Jim, we touched on it a lot in Orioles report, but he's down 3-0, gives up the long home run to Chili Davis, and then he went to another stratosphere in innings 4 through 6, striking out 8 of the 9 outs he recorded, kept the Orioles in the game.
And isn't that what it's all about? And what you like to do is make your team think that they can still win the game. And boy, how many times over the course of this season have Orioles starting pitchers failed to do that?
There haven't been many in this run of just going 1-10. 8 quality starts for the Orioles starting staff. Pettitte buries the fastball on Jerry Hairston to even the count at 1. Hairston grounded out to Scott Brosius his first time. Jerry now 0 for 12 after he was going through a 5 for 16 hot stretch that included his first major league home run. Of course, he had the 4 for 5 night with 2 doubles in Toronto. This is hit sharply and fair over the bag between Brosius into the left field corner. Hairston thinking double as the throw from Chad Curtis not in time. 2-base hit.
Well, I told you about playing third base. You can't play over the bag, though. You're just hoping that the balls are going to be hit down there, and that's what Pettitte does. He gets 2 strikes. He tries to come in on you, hopes to get it in where you don't get the good portion of the bat, but that wasn't the case. Jerry Hairston, he's going to be able to be quick enough, keeps it inside the bag, and as Ray Miller said yesterday, it's nice to see a pair of fresh legs. Above average speed. I rode home with Tim McCarver, who a longtime broadcaster doing some Yankee games this year. He said, boy, it looks like Hairston can really play second base.
There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I've really been impressed.
You are not going to have any problem at all. This is a major league second baseman defensively. Run, as you said, Jim, adds a lot of a spark, creates a spark, adds some excitement. Will he swing the bat well enough?
Yeah, that's a big question. His dad was a switch hitter.
Yeah. Jerry Hairston in scoring position here with 1 out in the O's half of the 4th. 2-base hit ended Pettitte's run of having retired 6 in a row. So Johnson gets 2-0. Pettitte tried to stay in the inner half and miss. So he's fallen behind 3-0.
Well, he learned his lesson. You throw that thigh-high fastball and then almost take one off your left knee. I'm sure that Andy Pettitte knows the scouting report on Johnson, but 3-0. Will Johnson be swinging?
Pettitte staying with the game plan, trying to run that cut fastball in the inner half. Charles has not gotten much time off. Yesterday was just his 4th game rested in the Orioles' last 55. Pettitte has gone to 3-0, Jim, and a lot of Oriole hitters, but has found a way to come back and at least get the count full.
And once again, look at Girardi. Moves in. He just, again, a little more pressure in the middle plate. That fastball just coming at you if you're a right-handed batter. It can come right at your fist. You can't distinguish a ball from a strike.
Hairston's going, and Johnson fouled off a 3-2. Jerry Hairston. He went on first movement from Andy Pettitte. Got a real good jump.
Well, part of the process of holding a runner at second is to come up and vary the kind of looks you take. Maybe step off or whatever, especially with a good base runner. Now Knobloch will move a little bit towards second base to at least keep Hairston a little bit closer. But they avoided him early on. And that's what you want. I mean, that's what speed does. Obviously, if Knobloch is worried about Hairston getting a big league, it's very difficult for him to cover the ball to his left. When you get that good base runner, he can give you those feints out at second base, and you think he's going to be running.
A 3-2 pitch missed down and in. You see Joe Girardi trying to succeed with the frame job for home plate umpire Dan Morrison. Let's take another look at this 3-2 pitch. Pettit to Johnson.
Now you're cellular one. You make the call. Once again, Girardi just presenting it. And Dan Morrison behind the plate, not as ample a strike zone as the first 3 games here in New York. Hickox down at first, big strike zone, especially as the game progressed. Larry Barnett, ample strike zone. Cost, very generous yesterday before he got the heat frustration.
Here's Brady Anderson now. The Orioles with 2 aboard again against Andy Pettit, who delivers a called strike. Brady lined out to Chuck Knobloch to open the game today and has drawn a walk. Well, Pettit, who delivered only a 4-pitch 3rd inning, has gone deep into counts on the Oriole hitters he's faced here in inning number 4. Quickly ahead of Brady Anderson. And that breaking ball, he seemed to be able to throw that with some success tonight, Jim, being able to spot it in the strike zone.
And that big curveball that I talked about first night I ever saw him. It's an old conventional, no splitter. A lot of people thinking over the last couple of years, as those win totals have gone down, became enamored with that cutter and became very one-dimensional in the sense that all he could do was pitch to right-handers in. Never could hit that outside portion of the plate.
1-2 on Brady Anderson.
The Yankees with a lot of mileage out of a 22nd round draft choice. How do you be 6'5" and throw in the low 90s and go in the 22nd round? It's hard to figure out.
45 strikes of the 73 Pettit strong.
And they only have 1 out here in the 4th.
2-2 on Brady Anderson. For Brady this year, it's been about on base percentage and runs scored atop the Oriole lineup. Looking for his first home run, though, since the 20th of June. It's pulled foul outside the bag. Anderson, though, with 12 home runs.
It just doesn't appear he's getting a lot of pitches to drive, and you don't know if that's because he's in one of those little modes as that average slides down. It was almost as high as 280 and sliding down to starting the night at 264, but maybe pulling off the ball a little bit more. But as you mentioned, on base percentage still over 40% of the time, even though it was up there about 42%. Just a little over 40 as this game started, but already on base 1 out of 2 times tonight.
Anderson awaits a 2-2 from Andy Pettit. Drilled to deep center. Bernie Williams fading back. He can't get it. It's over his head. Well, Hairston and Johnson had come together. Now Knobloch's throw to the plate. The slide not in time. Jerry Hairston beat the throw, but there was some indecisiveness on the base pass for the Orioles.
But I think he thought Bernie Williams was going to catch it. You know, normally with 1 out, nobody out, you're going to tag up, but with 1 out, you're going halfway. He doesn't go halfway because what happens, he's about 2 steps from second base right here as Hairston is now going to take off. There he goes. He's looking. He's going back because he thinks he's going to catch it. Uh-oh. And I'll tell you what, thank goodness he can fly. And watch him help out Dan Morrison at home plate with it right there, safe. Just in case you didn't get it right, Dan.
And Jerry now could share a little smile about it. Charles Johnson was breathing right up his back. And they were at one point about maybe 4 or 5 feet apart. That's it. As Johnson had rounded the bag at second, and Hairston was on his way back to it.
Hi, Charles. See you later.
That's right. Brady Anderson, though, delivering his 43rd run driven into the year with a long RBI double. Yankees draw the infield in now against Mike Bordick with Johnson and Anderson in scoring position. Bordick tried to check and went too far. And Pettit's quickly gotten it down even at 1-1.
And that's a tribute to Mike Mussina. You just don't expect to get a lot of runs. I mean, maybe as you mentioned, if you take away that Tampa game where he gave up 10 earned runs, his ERA right a little bit over 3 runs a game. So Joe Torre saying, listen, calculated risk, a gamble. Let's see if we can cut off a run at the plate.
The count is 0-2, and now Mike Bordick is down swinging. And they changed it 1-1 up on the board here for a moment, but first pitch was called a strike. So now on 3 pitches, Pettit fans Mike Bordick.
Good hard slider, maybe a cutter, goes straight down, and you can see the big swing by Mike Bordick. Wanted a little bit in, but it goes down out underneath the strike zone, and that's a great formula to get hitters out. I don't know of too many hitters, Mike Bordick included, that are not going to expand the strike zone with runners in scoring position with 2 outs or 2 strikes.
Third strikeout of the night for Andy Pettit. For the time being, at least temporarily, he got one in a big situation. All changes there. Base hit right field, B.J. Surhoff. Johnson will score. Here comes Anderson. O'Neill's throw. Girardi will put the tag on, and Anderson is out at the plate. Paul O'Neill, one of the best throwing arms in the business, just cut down Brady Anderson, trying to score on the base hit to right. Orioles get 2 in the inning, but O'Neill avoids further trouble. Fourth, but it could have been more. But Jim, Paul O'Neill was one of the best outfield throwing arms in the business.
Yeah, 11 assists last year. Just going to be number 9 already. Nice play by Girardi. He's able to get the ball, drop the gate down on Brady Anderson. Tags him up on the body, but well in front of home plate. So, as you mentioned, only 2 runs on a nice play by Paul O'Neill, who happens to be coming to the plate.
Sometimes kind of just works out that way.
So a 3-run lead for Mike Mussina.
His last outing in Toronto, Mike got behind quickly. And the Orioles battled back to take the lead, only to finally lose it 10-9. No decision for Mike Mussina. Paul O'Neill, Bernie Williams, Tino Martinez, 3, 4, and 5 for the Yankees. The Orioles have built the 3-run advantage here as we head to the bottom of the 4th. Quickly ahead, going to the fastball twice to get O'Neill in the 0-2 hole. Right there on the active all-time winning list is Mike Mussina, right up at the top of it, as O'Neill spoils the pitch to stay alive.
I think the interesting thing when you talk about Paul O'Neill, won a batting title as a Yankee, 315 lifetime, which is the 5th highest. But over the course of his career, he's hit 285 against lefties, this year down in the 180s. And I asked Joe Torre, and I guess maybe this is a definition of a player's manager. I said, would you ever pinch hit for him? You were down there. We were talking to him first night in, and he said, first of all, I don't have anybody. Second, I respect what he's been able to do for me, because eventually he's going to get that average up, especially with his work ethic. And he said, I did pinch hit for Scott Brocious one night early in the year when he had come off the sprained ankle and he was struggling, but I had Chili Davis, my DH, sitting on the bench. So I would imagine, unless you get a lefty versus a lefty situation in the postseason, if the Yankees go that far, that you will see O'Neill have an opportunity to get that 181 batting average up to where he would like it, which is certainly much higher.
2-2 from Mussina. Jammed and popped it up. It'll get out of play.
We talked about Jason Johnson, right-hander, 25 years old, pitched very well, even though he lost 2-1. He pitched O'Neill and a lot of the Yankees up and in all night long, and then went away when he had established that in their mind. And Mike Messina, pretty alert on the bench when he's not pitching. Good way to get a lot of knowledge.
O'Neill did not go, says Dan Miller. Did I say Dan Miller? Bill Miller. Yeah. I almost said Greg Connors.
Right,
because that's where Greg's supposed to be tonight. But
well, there's a youngster, Jason Johnson.
From Messina, and O'Neill will foul it off. Lowest nose today in Orioles history fact: July 5th, 1969. I think I was there. I'm going to jog my memory back. The O's beat the Detroit Tigers 9-3, 4 runs in the first and fifth. Dave McNally won his 14th straight on a run that would go up to 17 in a row.
And then on a Saturday afternoon in Minnesota, when Rich Reese hit a pinch hit home run to left field, left-hander off the left-hander McNally. Oh.
It was 0-2. Paul O'Neill battled it and worked it against Mike Messina. At least for this short moment, O'Neill wins this war with Messina by coaxing the leadoff walk.
And Ray Miller wonders where it was. So does Mike Messina. Like knee-high inside portion of the plate, but he doesn't get the call, and now you're into the heart of the lineup. Only the second walk, and this is one more walk than Mike has given up in any of his last 5 starts.
Last time Messina had walked multiple hitters in a game, you got to go way back to the 23rd of May. Here's Bernie Williams now. Bernie has a 15-game hit streak on the line, during which he's hit over 440.
You got Jeter with a 14-game hit streak. You got Williams with a 15, and of course, no wonder they're won 8 out of their last 10. And before yesterday afternoon, we're 20 games over 500.
Second best record in baseball, and it was about two and a half weeks ago. What's wrong with the Yankees? Only about, I think at the time, Jim, they were 9 or 10 games over the 500 mark, and actually had about the 6th best record in baseball. But so winning 12 of 14 will do for you. 3-0 as Messina, at least temporarily here, has lost the strike zone.
If you're Joe Torre, you know the guy behind him, Tino Martinez, does not have good numbers. Do you let Bernie Williams swing away here?
3-1 on Williams.
Who struck him out on a 3-2 changeup the first time up. Swung through a letter-high changeup.
On the ground at Hairston, might be a pair. Turn it over. Second double play that the Orioles have turned. They got Jeter to hit into the 6-4-3 to end the third, and now Bernie Williams with the tailor-made double play on 2 skips right at Jerry Hairston.
Another 2-seam fastball. We already saw the one before. That was to the shortstop Bordick, this time to Hairston. Bordick able to avoid O'Neill. Tailor-made double play. Just get it to the shortstop. The sooner you get it to him, then he can avoid the runner.
And the base is empty now for Tino Martinez. He grounded out his first time. There's the beauty of Messina, though. I mean, he was ahead of O'Neill 0-2, walked him, fell behind Williams 3-0. Able to come back, make the pitch he wants, and restore order to the inning.
Well, one of his long suits is composure and poise, intelligence, feels his position, holds runners. You give him a bat, he gets 3 RBIs when he gets a hit. You can do so many things, but composure, poise, not losing your cool. He gets annoyed, but why not? Sometimes umpires have a tendency to annoy you.
Oh, only at umpires he gets annoyed?
Probably not, but
talking about when he's on the mound looking for pitches that he wants. Fly ball, deep left. Surhoff on the track to the wall. He's got room to make the grab. Hitting over Martinez, drilled it a long way, but B.J. Surhoff with room. The Orioles have tried to put a little heat on this man, Andy Pettitte. And they've done it with a 3-run lead at 4-1 heading to the top of the 5th. And the Albert Bell will lead it off for the O's. Bell to be followed by Jeff Conine and then Rich Emerald. Albert's had an RBI base hit tonight and also grounded out to third. Steadily moved that average up as Albert Bell after it had dropped down into the lower 260s. Jim, you were talking about it earlier. We'll see what the second half brings in terms of production at the plate for Albert Bell. The track record says that second halves are his thing.
Yeah, he'll get as hot as the thermometer in New York today.
And last year he had a dazzling second half together, hitting 32 of his home runs, I believe, after the All-Star break.
31, I think. Yeah, something like that. A bunch.
Pettitte got him swinging. And that breaking ball that even though Andy Pettitte has been hit hard by the Orioles tonight, that's the pitch he's had success with when he's wanted and needed outs.
And why? Because you're looking in. And Cal Ripken took one. Couldn't even get the bat off his shoulder. It's just a pitch you don't see that often, that big overhand curveball, because it's coming from 12 to 6. The terminology used to be a yocker, but off the table. Ball drops right off the table, and that's the illusion that curveball has. Goes right up to the edge of the table and drops.
It's a 4th strikeout for Andy Pettitte. Jeff Conine, first pitch swinging, skied to center for Bernie Williams. A couple of quick ones for Andy Pettitte here in inning number 5. All right, those fans, Interleague Baseball back at the Yard Thursday, July 15th. The first Utah Street pregame block party featuring a live performance by Dr. Harmonica and Rocket 88. Good tickets still remain for the 7:35 O's Expos game. Get your tickets now by calling 1-888-848-BIRD. Montreal Expos of Philippe Ballou checking into the hotel in Midtown Manhattan as we're leaving today because they're playing the New York Mets over at Shea.
Yeah, the Mets with a big weekend series against Atlanta. Won 1 out of the 3 games after getting shut out 16-0, 3-0. Armando Benitez, former Oriole, with a save because of the injury to John Franco.
Armando had a very strong 9th inning last night as he fanned all 3 hitters he faced. And Montreal and the Mets all tied at 1 apiece. They're in the 6th inning at Shea. Since we're talking about those 2 clubs. 1-2 now, and Rich Emerald has hit the ball on the ground twice tonight against Andy Pettitte. Another cellular one. You make the call.
Dan Morrison made it.
In the right for a base hit in front of Paul O'Neill. So Rich Emerald drops the 2-out base hit in front of O'Neill. The Orioles have their 8th base hit of the evening against Andy Pettitte.
You can saw the smile from Tino Martinez down at first. Rich Emerald and Tino, former teammates up in Seattle.
There's Cal Ripken. In case you missed it, Cal will make the All-Star start at third base. He'll be joined by Nomar Garcia-Parra, Robbie Alomar, and Jim Thome. Alomar and Thome of the Cleveland Indians as his infield mates. The All-Star Classic a week from tomorrow night.
Right, exactly.
In Boston.
It'll be interesting who Bruce Bochy of the Padres will be the manager who decides to start for that National League All-Star game. Maybe probably not going to be Bottenfield of St. Louis, even though he's got 12 wins. Maybe Schilling.
Lima.
Yeah, I think we know who's going to be pitching for the American League. Pedro Martinez already with 15 wins. And
yeah, it would be quite an upset if Martinez does not go next Tuesday as Ripken bounces and fouls. So Pedro pitched Sunday. His next start should come either Friday or I think Friday night. So he'll be, be sitting on 3 days rest, Jim, when he goes to the mound for what, a couple, 2-3 innings at Fenway.
I hate to beat Joe Torre if he doesn't name Martinez, because I was in the '93 All-Star game. I was honorary captain when Cito Gaston didn't bring in Mike Messina. I told him, I don't think it's a good idea I stand next to you.
Repka with a ground ball to third. Brosius picked a short hop. Martinez will stay in contact with that bag. So Scott Brosius handling the short hop. Halfway home, Orioles lead.
Every time you thought Mike Messina might be in a little bit of trouble, he's come up with those two big double plays. One by Jeter and then last inning the one by Bernie Williams. One to the second baseman and one to the shortstop.
Chili Davis, the veteran DH, swinging from the left side to lead it off. Chad Curtis, Scott Brosius to follow. This is 6, 7, and 8 for the Yanks. Orioles trying to win the finale of this series and come up with a split here over this weekend.
Well, obviously you didn't want to lose the first two games, but you did. So what's your mission? Your mission is to win yesterday, and they were able to come from behind and do that with a 6-run 7th inning. And maybe if they win tonight, this will be the start of one of those runs they had a couple of weeks ago.
Base hit right field. Chili Davis got a 2-0 pitch, and he drilled it hard to right for a leadoff base hit.
Chili will tell you he looks for pitches, and once again, when you get 3 strikes, and when you're 39 years old and you've been around the block many times, 2-0, he looks like he's looking for something soft. It looked like a changeup to me, maybe a little bit off. That's in the twilight zone right there. Thigh high to a lefty. They don't miss those, especially when he's been on a hot streak. Home run, as you mentioned, 3rd deck yesterday and 3 hits on Friday night. We'll make it Saturday.
There's Chad Curtis. He takes the fastball for a called strike. Curtis going with the high socks. Pant legs rolled up tonight here in his start. It's been a struggle for Curtis, who the last couple of years really either been a 4th outfielder or also was able to get a lot of time when Bernie Williams was down on the DL, and he filled in very well swinging the bat. And playing decent defense too.
And he could steal a base. He stole 5 out of 7. I was watching him take BP yesterday. Very frustrating not getting the results. Reminded me a little bit of Mike Portick or BJ Surhoff.
As Messina working over the outside corner, so he's ahead of Curtis at 1 and 2.
We mentioned those good numbers that Curtis had coming into the game, and that 358 with 4 home runs. But once again, Mike Messina did not have the pitching arsenal. Doesn't mean that Curtis can't hit him. Don't get me wrong, but didn't have that cutter. So all of a sudden, I think Mike a much better pitcher. Even though a lot of people felt he was doing quite well the way without that pitch, but that slider makes a big difference, and there it is.
Bounce foul.
And the reason it makes such a difference is because if you're a right-handed batter, that ball is going away from you, and also it's going to go down. It's going to be off speed. If you roll over at all, and that's what he did right there, he just tops it. They're going to hit a lot of ground balls to the left side. There's another pitch they can serve as an off-speed pitch. If you get it in a good location, you can get a lot of double plays on it, because what you do is you upset the timing of a hitter.
Drilled to deep center, but Brady Anderson should have room back near the track to reach up and pull it down. Curtis gave it a ride, but Brady Anderson, good jump on the baseball and got back to the track to make the play.
Third baseman,
Mike Messina has only given up 3 base hits tonight. He works with his 3-run lead. Now block a leadoff double and scored in the opening inning. Brosius leadoff single in the 3rd. Davis a leadoff single in the 5th. So it's been the leadoff hitter in the odd innings tonight. Have had the base hits. Brosius pops it up for Jerry Hairston into short right. He'll put the squeeze on it, and that's 2 quick ones now for Mike Messina after Davis's base hit. All right, let's finish off our Time Bridge Technologies trivia. Who was the last pitcher to throw a no-hitter against the New York Yankees? It was back in 1958. Wore an Orioles uniform. And the answer is a knuckleballer, Hoyt Wilhelm. His only win for the Orioles in that season. Late in September.
Wait, his only win in the whole season? What did he get there in 15th of September?
No, the no-hitter was thrown on the 20th of September.
But that's his only win of the year?
I didn't research that, but I would think that that's accurate.
It was a trade we're hearing.
He didn't come to the ball club until what, the middle part of when did he come to the Orioles that year? July?
You talking to me?
Was it?
You're talking to the
I'm throwing this up for everybody.
I don't know. Sure, Tom Davis would know. He knows everything.
It was his only win with the Orioles. Won 3 games that year. Won a couple with the Cleveland Indians. Girardi with a hard ground ball that'll get by. A diving Jerry Hairston. Joe Girardi with an opposite field base hit.
So that brings my point back in the 3rd inning. You get the leadoff batter. You talked about 3 times they've had the leadoff guy on you. You give Mike Messina an out. So you take away a big chance as this ball is lined. I mean, that's what Girardi does best, and what he does is bring the leadoff hitter back up. But again, it's not that he can't get a hit, but when you give him an out, and they did that, you take away a chance of maybe getting to Mike Messina with more than 1 run.
There's Chuck Knobloch. Knobloch has been aboard twice tonight. Doubled to start the game into the corner and right and scored the Yankees' only run. Mike Messina walked him in the 3rd. 2 aboard in the Yankee 5th. Knobloch fly ball, short center. Brady Anderson. He's got it inning over. Let's head to the 6th. Orioles maintain their 4-1 lead. Michael Reghi and Jim Palmer in steamy Yankee Stadium tonight. Temperature in New York City. Some sections hit 100 degrees today. Heat index is our man Brian, our stage manager, always tells us about the heat index. 115 tonight, Brian. 115, somewhere in there. Brian says we'll go with that. He hasn't quite tabulated it yet, but
yeah, a little breeze this morning, but the flags are moving a little bit here, high atop the facade.
The facade is right. Well, Jerry Hairston puts down a pretty nice bunt, but you saw there is no dirt, Jim. We talked about that the last time we were in. You see, as the grass in fair territory comes right up to the chalk line, so you get that little lip there, and the baseball will make that left turn. If it's got the correct spin, will kick off. No more dirt on the fair side of the chalk line.
And also, that probably would be the flattest part of any infield, but most infields crown because of drainage. So you have that slope away from the mound, actually coming from the pitcher's mound towards the 3rd base or the 1st base line. It'll be interesting. The Orioles obviously trying to add offense because I told you about how hot it is. Mike Messina, along with Sidney Ponson and Chris Carpenter up in Toronto, lead the American League with 3 complete games. But if you're Ray Miller, you'd like to I'd like to get Messina to go as long as he can, as long as he's going to be effective.
And Jerry Hairston, a big part of the Oriole 2-run fourth inning. And doubled to left by Scott Brocious. And scored one of the runs. Pettit's fastball, good spot, knee high.
Still haven't seen a changeup that they all talked about.
Now we heard it so much ballyhooed around here, and not a one of them today.
Seen the hook, seen the slider, the cutter, the fastball.
Andy Pettit from the state of Louisiana. 2-2 to Hairston. This was ripped foul. It was 1996, Jim, I mentioned earlier. Pettit had a lot of support for a Cy Young award, but he was edged and late going, even though he was a 21-game winner.
We learned a lot about him that year, because that's the year that through most of the middle of the season had tendonitis, severe tendonitis of the left elbow, and still went out there. The Yankees trying to win the American League East, eventually winning a World Championship. And how about that game in the World Series when he beat Smoltz 1-0? Yankees coming back from that 2-0 deficit. And also his father. I mean, a lot of Yankees with problems. Brocious' father with colon cancer, and Chuck Knobloch with father with Alzheimer's disease. Andy Pettit's father with open heart surgery last year.
Ground ball at Derek Jeter. And Hairston retired to start inning number 6. One of you racing fans, the Indy Racing League and the stars of the Indianapolis 500 return to Dover Downs Sunday, August 1st, teaming up with the American Speed Association. Stock cars for a wonderful racing doubleheader. For tickets, call 1-800-441-RACE. You ever get behind the wheel of a race car?
No.
Don't sound like you care to either.
No, that would be fun.
Well, I thought with your multitude of connections around the sporting world that maybe that might be an opportunity for you.
Well, maybe if somebody's listening, they'll give me a call tomorrow night in the booth. But no, I was actually I think one of the big races to go down and be in the pit and all that. And everybody I talk to say that their auto racing is just a wonderful venue when you get there.
Johnson with a line drive that Scott Brocious is going to pick off. Shoot top high. Now Brocious making the play, and Johnson is out in the line drive to third.
Now he's going to catch this ball, so you can see get his feet set, so you can go either right or left. Nice grab, and once again Charles Johnson hitting much better against lefties. Hit the ball well after hitting that line drive up the middle for a base hit the first time, RBI. Brocious actually looked around to see if Bill Miller, the umpire at third, called him out. Otherwise he was ready to throw it to first.
Brady Anderson with an RBI double his last time, his 43rd of the year. Brady got a pitch that he could drive and did. Close to 400 feet over the head of Bernie Williams out near that 408 mark in dead center.
And Brady was ready to go down to first with a being hit by a pitch right there. Big curveball, almost ducked right into it.
He awaits a 2-0 from Andy Pettit. The Orioles, we talked about Brady with his 12 home runs on the year. Birds have 6 hitters in double figures in the home run category, as Pettit has fallen behind 3-1. Surhoff leading the team with his 19. Albert Bell and Harold Baines with 17 each. Charles Johnson with 13. Anderson with the 12. And Cal Ripken with 10. 7 in double figures. Reggie Anderson also has his second walk of the night. The 2-out walk issued by Andy Pettitte.
So there's your on-base percentage. 3 for 4 tonight. And actually, the first time up, hit the ball right on the nose, but Knobloch, a nice running play to his left, keep him from keep Brady from a line drive base hit into right field.
The shortstop, Mike Bordick.
Mike Bordick's 0 for 2 tonight. He's fanned both times, also drawn a walk and scored a run. See, with a 3-run lead, Randy Anderson leading this club with 14 steals. But as we've documented for you, Andy Pettitte is very hard to run on.
Well, there's 7 out of 12 this year. I don't think Ray Miller wants Bordick the way he's looked off of Pettitte leading off next inning. And I may be wrong. But right now, maybe you have a chance of Bordick hitting the ball to right field. Maybe he'll have to poke one in the hole. You keep the hole. If you steal, of course, Martinez will play it first back. I think you'd rather have Surhoff leading off the next inning. And also, as you mentioned, very difficult to run on. You like to get those high percentages if you're a manager. Brady 14 out of 18. Matter of fact, the Orioles, as I mentioned earlier, 16 out of their last 19 in the stolen base department. So picking the right opportunity to run. And that means pitch and who you run against. It's easy to steal off of Girardi, but very difficult off of Pettitte. He's got the good move.
Cut fastball, missed down and in.
That's a wonder. Yeah, excuse me, Mike. Go ahead.
No, just saying, but as far as the run game this year, it's almost like come in bursts for the Orioles. I mean, they've gone through stretches, a couple, 2-3 stolen bases a game, and then gone through periods where their success rate has fallen off.
Well, one thing, they are on a pace to score about 67 or 8 runs more than they did last year. Somewhere in that range.
Well, that hasn't been the problem, huh? You know, we're looking at better than 5 runs a game, actually almost up near 5.5. And Jim at 5.5 runs a game. All the years you've spent in Major League Baseball, you know that a team that scores 5.5 runs per game should not be 14 games under 500.
No, not at all. I think an interesting number is Mel Stottlemyre will come out to talk to Andy Pettitte. Pitch count's got to be up there, well up there, around 100. But in the 47 losses, the ERA is over 7 runs a game.
Right.
Jason Grimsley, we saw him a couple of days ago, came in and pitched very well for the Yankees.
Conversely, in the 33 games the Orioles have won, the ERA is 4 runs less. Down around 3. To Bordick on 4 pitches. Andy Pettitte issues the walk to Mike Bordick, so he had no problems at all with Hairston and Charles Johnson, and then issues back-to-back walks to Anderson and Bordick here in inning number 6. And this is certainly the way that the Orioles would have scripted this inning, because it gets the Birds' hottest hitter to the plate. B.J. Surhoff already 2 for 3 tonight, and has driven in his 66th run of the year. BJ with a 5 RBI day yesterday, grand slam home run included, and another run driven in tonight. And a breaking ball for Andy Pettitte for the called strike on pitch number 113 delivered, and that is the most that Pettitte has thrown in any outing this year.
Now, when you get your walk totals like he's had in his last 3 games, he walked 5, 4 of the last game, 5 already tonight. You know, his pitchers are going to be very limited.
Ground ball to Tino Martinez. Played the hop, beats Surhoff to the bag. That'll do it for the O's. Into 6. We're through 5.5 in the Bronx. Orioles lead it 4-1. It is, you look at nighttime, summer in the city. Back of my neck getting burned and gritty, Jim.
Yeah, man.
Well, John Sebastian once put that to music with a love and spoonful.
Yeah.
And this is summer in the city.
Is it ever?
Mike Mussina looks very cool, though, as a matter of fact, on the mound against the New York Yankees. Derek Jeter bounced into a double play his last time. Jeter, O'Neill, and Bernie Williams. Jeter 0 for 2 tonight. Ground ball to Mike Bordick's right. He'll pick it and throw out Jeter by a step. Well, you see how Jeter gets down the line.
I mean, I said it all last year. Obviously, the Yankees having an incredible year, 114 wins, 125. But part of the deal is they play this game as hard as anybody in the game, maybe even harder. And one of them is that Jeter runs out every ball, even though Knobloch didn't have a career year. I mean, this is a routine ground ball. Look at him go. And you think it doesn't make it more difficult for an infielder to know that a guy's going to run that hard? I mean, that's what more can you ask for?
Mike Bordick knew it. You see how Bordick quickly transferred and knew he had to gun a strong throw over to get Jeter. Mike Mussina, though, keeps Derek Jeter off. Paul O'Neill, who was grounded out and walked tonight. Four base hits Mike Mussina has allowed as he blows it by O'Neill.
Yeah, you get a 4-game series. Paul O'Neill's a good guy to know because his sister is the fruit critic for the New York Times.
Samplings are
and knowing how much you like food.
Oh, come on. Come on now. Hard ground ball by a diving Jeff Conine. Base hit right field. O'Neill with a 1-out base hit to right. 5th hit of the evening for the Yankees. Bernie Williams now. Bruce Keeson's going to make a quick call down to Elrod Hendricks in the Orioles bullpen.
Well, Doug John was already up throwing, and I would imagine could be the case, I suppose, if the Martinez, the left-hander Martinez comes up.
It's a first base hit that Mussina has allowed to the heavy part of the Yankee lineup, hitters 2 through 5, Jeter, O'Neill, Williams, and Martinez.
When you get the 370 hitters and the 340 hitters that bounce in the double plays, you've done some good pitching. And Bernie, double play the last time, strikeout the first time, sinker for the double play, changeup for the strikeout. And there's another one. The book on him, Ray Miller talking after he had a couple home runs against Sidney Ponson, is that you just don't want to throw him fastballs. Just a real good fastball hitter. Jason Johnson, throwing him one, and he was just all over it.
O'Neill is going as Williams lines the 1-1 foul in the seats. O'Neill was moving on the pitch with the Yankees down by 3. Joe Torre saying maybe the only shot we're going to have is try to get aggressive on Mike Mussina.
And why do you hit and run? A number of reasons. You want to get the infielders moving. Somebody's got to cover the base. Also, you have a pitcher that throws a lot of strikes, a player, last year's batting titleist, who can make contact. It's a perfect play, and you're right. They're not hitting him. I mean, occasional hits, but he's made big pitches on a couple of occasions tonight. Maybe he can get lucky. As it turns out, Williams hit the ball hard, but it sliced foul.
And Mussina readies for the 1-2 pitch. Base hit left field. Changeup away, and Bernie Williams stayed on it and drove it to left. After surrendering the first hit to the hitters 2 through 5, back-to-back from O'Neill and Williams.
Now, this is a pitch he struck him out with the first time up. This time he hangs it, as you mentioned. And Sorhoff will get it on a couple of hops, and out comes Ray Miller. Remember, a hot night. If you're Ray Miller, you certainly do not want to relieve Mike Mussina. But on the other hand, I mean, the weather is that difficult to be able to sustain any kind of momentum and stamina you might have. We saw it happen to Clemens yesterday.
Mike Mussina is going to exit here in the bottom of the 6th after back-to-back base hits. Tell you about Doug Johns in a minute. Mussina leaves with a 4-1 lead. Orioles with a 4-1 lead as Mike Mussina departs. Jim, pitch count at 89, so certainly not inordinately high for the Oriole ace. And as you speculated, maybe obviously this close to 100-degree temperature tipped the hand as far as Ray Miller's decision.
And very high humidity. Doug Johns, we saw him a couple of games ago, came in and pitched a scoreless 8th inning, gave up a 1-base hit and a strikeout. But if you're Ray Miller, you're going to the bullpen. You probably didn't really want to, but you knew that Mussina might have lost some of his stamina. And you hope the numbers, the matchup 2 for 12, Martinez against Johns, will be held true tonight.
Doug Johns quickly ahead with his breaking ball to Tino Martinez. Doug Johns been doing a very nice job out of the Orioles bullpen. He's allowed only 3 runs in his last 9 2/3 innings of work and hasn't walked a hitter in those 9 innings. That obviously puts a smile on the face of Ray Miller, as that was what this manager has been bemoaning all year long. Relief pitchers coming in and walking hitters.
Yeah, little breaking ball. That's 2 in a row. Of course, the bullpen, 24 earned runs in their last 24 1/3 innings pitched. So doesn't mean he can't pitch better tonight. For Ray Miller, you got the matchup you want. So it's up to Doug Johns.
A couple of Yankees aboard here in this 3-run Orioles lead. Martinez with a ground ball that's foul. Well, he got him 0-2 on a couple of looping breaking balls, but then tried to run back a fastball in on Tino's hands.
Well, that's the formula that Mike Flanagan tried to teach him last year when he was the pitching coach. Doug Johns coming to spring training, resurrecting his career by going to Europe the year before. And Mike said very simply, the good left-handed hitters, they cover the outside part of the plate. So a lot of times, you establish your breaking ball, you drop down a little bit. That's something you came up with. But that 2-seamer we just saw, sometimes you can get them to roll over and get the ground ball. He got it, but it was foul.
Johns 0-2 to Tino Martinez. Got a piece of it.
Of course, the 2-seam fastball is meant to be thrown down. Ball up and in, and a different story.
Tino Martinez facing the left-hander in Doug Johns. Got jammed in the air to short right. Long run for Amaral, who's there at the line to make the grab.
Well, we told you about Rich Amaral in right. Much better outfielder than Albert Bell. Well, Ray Miller allowing Albert to be the DH. He already drove in a run tonight. And Amaral, I mean, this is a routine play right here. For Albert, it might have been a long, long run. But he has it all the way. Plays a lot of center field. Real good speed in right field. There's a young Oriole right-hander, Gabe Molina, already pitched for a while here with the Orioles, sent back to Rochester and pitched pretty well. And this is what Bruce Keeson talked about. He wants Charles Johnson to go out to the mound and be a little more assertive. Try to find out with the bullpen what they want to do. What's your game plan? Because a lot of times, he said, he'll go out there and they will say, what do you want to do? He said, well, mix them up. Well, what does that mean? Mix what up? Starting pitchers have a plan. He wants the bullpen to have a better idea of what they're trying to accomplish when they do come in. And that was all part of that Friday night meeting that Ray Miller and Bruce Keeson had.
And Chili Davis has turned around now. He'll hit from the right side. And one more conversation will ensue between Doug Johns and Charles Johnson.
You know, Chili Davis, a 254 hitter from this side, and well over 300 at 311 from the lefty. But again, you go back to that Saturday game when Arthur Rhodes came in with a 2-run lead. Who started it off from this side of the plate? I think a lot of the reasons that Ray Miller brought in Arthur was to turn Chili around, and he hit a rocket to right field for a base hit. He walked Brasada, and then Brocious hit a 3-run fastball for a 3-run home run and a Yankee win. As you describe it, a walk-off.
Walk-off home runs. You like them when you're the ones doing the walking off.
Well, like last year, Palmeiro hit a couple.
Yes.
Off of Mike Fetters, too, that I remember.
Yes.
It's over.
Lenny Webster hit one against Oakland in July. As Doug Johns starts Chili Davis off by missing in. Davis a base hit in 2 turns tonight. Mike Messina got Derek Jeter on the ground ball to short to start this inning. O'Neill and Bernie Williams lined back-to-back base hits. Ray Miller went and lifted Messina in favor of Doug Johns, and Johns got Tino Martinez in the fly ball to right. 1-1 on Davis.
Well, the way I have it, it's about the Yankees are about 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position. If you're an Oriole fan, you'd like that trend to continue.
Let's see how the bullpen operates tonight. They'll like to be successful through 3 2/3 innings. They'll need to be able to rack up this win. Johns has slowed things down now as he sets the deal to Chili Davis. A turnover, a fastball, 2-1.
Well, Chili Davis very good in these situations, over 300 at 324. Of course, we don't know how many of those base hits came right-handed versus left-handed. But he is a situational guess hitter when he gets the count in his favor, as it is now.
Oh, breaking ball, and he fouled it back. And it looked like it stayed middle of the plate.
Well, there's your home run swing. That was your 3-run home run swing. Billy telling me many times I do not try to hit home runs. I just try to drive the ball, and if the ball goes out, it's a bonus. Try to hit the ball up the gaps if it carries. And it has a seems like the ball's carrying this year.
A little bit. Johns 2-2. This is driven to deep right, but it is going to fade foul into the corner. And missed by a lot down in the right field corner, but Davis knew it was going to fade foul.
And Doug Johns is hoping. See, they get the ball, try to go in. He doesn't quite get it in. Very hard to hit the ball that far to right field, and that hard if you have to collapse your hands. Gets the ball out of over the plate as that one, and gets a good part of the wood on the ball.
Battle going on between Doug Johns and Chili Davis here in the 6th inning. Series long underneath that hitting helmet. Again a 2-2. This is drilled to deep left. Surhoff chasing back, reaching up, and he made the catch. A tremendous running catch by B.J. Surhoff. That saved a couple of runs as Davis is robbed by Surhoff. Orioles maintain the 4-1 lead, and Jim, B.J. Surhoff just continues to play extraordinary defense, taking away extra bases from Chili Davis.
Oh, all phases of the game. And you can, I mean, look at body language from Chili. He can't believe it. He came into this series 1 for 20, and he said, I hit that ball about as hard as I can hit it. And the Yankees, they're 26 and 16 here at home, but tonight they've hit 3 balls that if they were in Camden Yards, they'd have 3 home runs. So Yankee Stadium, because of outstanding defense by the Orioles, especially on that play, not being kind to him. I mean, has Joe Torre seen enough to take BJ to Boston?
Oh, I think he long ago saw enough. As we look at Jason Grimsley.
Yeah, he won a 6th game and coming in 1 inning of relief on Saturday. And Brocious hit that 3-run home run.
The Orioles keep that 4-1 lead. And Albert Bell, DHing tonight, is going to lead it off. Bell 1 for 3 against the starter Randy Petty, who worked 6 innings. And leaves as the pitcher a record. This is skied to short right off the bat of Bell for Paul O'Neill. A couple of pitches and 1 out here in the 7th. So Andy Pettit worked the 6 innings, as I mentioned. Charged with the 4 runs, walked 5 and threw 116 pitches tonight. Will not be able to even his record at 6-6 and get the loss, though if the game stays the way it is.
Yeah, that's 14 walks in his last 3 starts.
It doesn't please Mel Stottlemyre or Joe Torre. Jeff Conine is 0 for 3 tonight. Hit the ball in the air all 3 times. Ground ball over the mound. Base hit center field. Jeff Conine with a first pitch single up the middle by Grimsley. Base hit number 9 on the evening for the Orioles. First for Conine.
Yeah, Jason Grimsley out of baseball since they're at least out of the major leagues for a couple of years. I had a chance to talk to him. He came in and pitched that game on Saturday and got his 6th win. I said, is that a splitter you throw? He said, no, it's what they call a dry sinker. He throws a 4-seam fastball, a slider, and then he holds the ball like Gaylord Perry used to hold the splitter, or the spitball, which is where you don't put your fingers on the seams. And you can call it a dry sinker. Actually, Art Fowler used to be Billy Martin's pitching coach, both here in New York and Oakland, used to teach that pitch. Maybe get a little moisture and that ball goes down, but that ball dropping precipitously on Saturday.
The emphasis on the dry part of the pitch, right? Amaral with a fly ball left center field. Chad Curtis cruising to the gap. Amaral out on the fly ball to Curtis in left. Take a look at the Southwest Airlines game summary as we are in inning number 7. The Orioles put 4 on the board in the first 4 innings. You see the RBI producers. Yankees, they're 1 through 5 hitters, 3 for 13. They've driven in the only run tonight. And Cal Ripken, now the owner of the 15th most doubles in Major League history, is doubled tonight. Cal 1 for 3, that 2-base hit, and scored a run. He faces Jason Grimsley. Grimsley last year bounced around, Jim. As you can see, he's kind of got a plus arm. No question about that. But the chances with Cleveland. He's finally settled in and found a home here in the Yankees bullpen. Ripken with a drive to deep left center. Curtis, track, wall, see you later. Number 11 for the all-star third baseman. He got it all and took Jason Grimsley on a ride and out of here in deep left center field.
We talked about the stance. We talked about the bat speed. This ball is hammered. Chad Curtis is going to take a couple of steps, and he's just going to watch it sail into the Orioles bullpen. Now he's going to turn around. He has no chance. He's going to give up. That ball is long gone. 6-1.
Hairston with a ground ball to the hole. Jeter will pick it and gun down Jerry Hairston by a step. Inning over, but not before the Orioles push the lead up to 5. Cal Ripken's 2-run home run. 6-1 O's. Orioles with 2 in the inning number 7, courtesy of Cal Ripken's 11th home run of the year. Cal now just 5 away as far as the 400 mark on the home run side, and he's also reached another milestone, his 1,000th career extra base hit. Well, Cal Ripken continues to climb. A pair of extra base hits tonight, the double and the 2-run home run. So with a 5-run lead now in the bottom of the 7th, Ray Miller's going to go to the bullpen, and Gabe Molina will make his first appearance in this his second stint with the ball club since coming back from Rochester.
Yeah, it was up for about 23, 24 days, late April to about the 22nd of May. Pitched well on occasion. I like his stuff. Saw him pitch a couple of games down in Texas. When he gets ahead, he's good sharp breaking ball, good curveball, slider, but in hitters counts against one of the better hitting teams, the Rangers, had struggled, so he went back down to Rochester, and very good numbers down there in 24 appearances. A 1.88 ERA, 1-1 record, 8 saves. Going to go with youngsters in your 14 games under 500. Why not give somebody with good ability an opportunity to see if he can pitch up here, especially when so many others have failed.
Yes, that stands to reason, partner. Chad Curtis will lead off the bottom of the 7th as the Orioles lead it by 5 as Molina went to the slider to get ahead. Gabe made his major league debut on the 1st of May, throwing a scoreless inning against Minnesota Twins. Curtis at 0 for 2 tonight.
Yeah, that's a good breaking, a good breaking ball. Just turned 24 in May out of Denver, Colorado.
Not real tall, about 5'10", very stocky frame, as you could see. On 3 sliders, Chad Curtis is gone. And Molina ringing up Chad Curtis.
Well, you're sitting on the bench, you say, this is nasty. Couple of one-arm swings. Chad Curtis doing the old fugitive.
One-arm man.
Yeah, the one-arm man. I tell you, when Dempsey was facing Ferguson Jenkins, who had that darting slider, about 8 or 9 consecutive swings one night down in Texas with one hand. 180s. Almost 270s. Just like a cyclone.
Like he planned it that way, huh? Our SK baseball board?
He didn't plan it that way.
Boston with a win over Tampa Bay. The Red Sox started tonight 3 games behind the Yankees in the American League East. Scott Brosius base hit in 2 tries against the O's starter Mike Mussina tonight. Mussina in line to pick up his 10th win of the year. The Orioles maintain this 5-run lead. Brosius with the dream season in '98, capped off by a World Series Most Valuable Player award. Count runs out now at 3-2. Certainly going to get a chance to see if he fits in as part of the future. Gabe Molina, he walks Scott Brosius.
Well, that's not part of the future as far as Ray Miller. That meeting on Friday, that clubhouse meeting, just try to be aggressive. Certainly did it to Curtis, unable to do it to Brosius.
I'll bring up the catcher, Joe Girardi. Molina now working out of the stretch. Fly ball, right center field. Brady Anderson to take charge. Look out as Rich Amaral finally made the play. Anderson kept coming. Don't know if it was difficult to hear one another out there, Jim, but almost had the come together.
Well, with Albert Bell, you're going to take him any. You know, it's one of those old philosophies. The center fielder takes everything he can get to, but with Amaral, I mean, he's camped under it, and Brady, I think, recognizes that right at the last moment. He hears him call it, and he gets out of the way. So no collision, no harm. Or in your business, no harm, no foul. Marv Albert here tonight.
Yeah, I chatted with Marv for a moment. There's Chuck Knobloch. And Molina's right there with a called strike.
He's coming back, but he's going to work back for NBC and
do the NBA once again for their national partner on the television side.
You tell him, don't tread on my turf.
Don't tread on my turf? Wow.
You're an NBA guy. Come on.
Yeah. Marv's son Kenny, who formerly worked with HTS as a Washington Capitals play-by-play announcer, now here in the New York City market. 0-2 to Knobloch. Fastball misses in.
Molina, who last year pitched at Bowie, Double-A ball, as a closer with 24 saves, did a nice job. You got a good breaking ball, and you got fastballs usually right around 90, 91 miles per hour. Pretty good movement.
Knobloch skies to short right center. Rich Amaral's got it, inning over. Let's go to the 8th. Orioles hold a 6-1 lead over the New York Yankees. Split this 4-game series here at Yankee Stadium after losing the first 2 over the 4th of July holiday. Got rid of the 10-game losing slide last night. Now trying to turn it back around again. Charles Johnson to lead it off here to begin the 8th against Jason Grimsley, Johnson, Brady Anderson, Mike Bordick. One and one on Johnson. Charles, who started the first 2 games of the series. Jim was saying a tough time picking up the baseball. David Cohn and El Duque, the first 2 games, struck out 5 times. They rebounded tonight, had a base hit, driven in a run, so drawn a walk and scored a run and hit the ball hard at Brosius.
And it was so interesting yesterday to see on a day that he didn't play. Mike Figa coming in, going 2 for 4, calling a good game, receiving the ball well. Key double in that comeback 6th, actually 7th inning, 6-run 7th inning. But Terry Crowley sitting on the bench, and to me it's terrific that Charles has enough trust in him to confide in him, to talk to him, and they're just sitting there talking, and all tonight laying off the high pitch, which is I'm sure something they talked about, trying to get better pitches to hit, and if he gets a base hit, you know, he's going to have a 2 for 3 night. He's done a great job. He controls the running game. He's called a good game tonight. Just not overreacting to what I thought was almost picture perfect pitching. It's like one of those pitchers meetings, you know, throw them high and tight, low and away. They make the great pitches low and away. You're looking for that ball, and then you throw the ball by you. It happens sometimes against 2 tough right-handers, and no sense of panic. And that's what 162 games is all about. Trusting that you're going to have those months where you hit 8 or 9 home runs like you did in May, and you're going to have some months where maybe you start out struggling. Good news is he's so good defensively that he's going to get an opportunity to play on a regular basis. Doesn't have to worry about any job security.
Girardi not able to hang on to the foul ball. And you mentioned 162 games, Jim, right at the halfway point tonight. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Yes, the All-Star break isn't until Sunday officially, but this is game number 81 for the O's tonight. Halfway through this 162-game baseball ride. And missed inside, so Charles Johnson has a leadoff walk here in the 8th. strike out our cellular one. You make the call. Take a look at this pitch again.
The center fielder, Reghi Anderson.
That's that dry sinker we talked about. It just tumbles, and it tumbled inside. So a good night for Charles. Base hit, a couple of walks, a ground out, on base 3 out of 4 times.
It's like Reghi Anderson, who has done the same thing. Drawn a pair of walks and launched a double over the head of Bernie Williams, even in his 43rd run of the year. As part of a 2-run fourth. Line drive, Knobloch will spear it, and not able to get Charles Johnson, who was scampering and to the ground to get back to the bag, as Anderson hit a wicked bullet right at Chuck Knobloch.
Yeah, baseball vernacular, a seed. Second line drive that Knobloch is corralled. This one even hit harder than the one back in the first inning. Nice base running by Charles Johnson. But you know, the minute a ball's hit that hard, you're only going one base anyway.
Mike Bordick now looks at a called strike. Mike looking for his first base hit. He's been on board twice tonight and scored a run with walks. And also banned a couple of times against Andy Pettit, the starter. Tried to check it and couldn't. Yankee pitchers tonight have issued a total of 6 base on balls, and they've come to 3 hitters. 2 to Anderson, 2 to Bordick, 2 to Charles Johnson. The 0-2. Bordick will stay alive. Toronto in tomorrow, Jim. You can well imagine the Orioles will have fresh memories of what just transpired over a 3-day period at Skydome.
But on the other hand, if you're going to, if you can win tonight and you're positive, you know you should have. If you had any kind of bullpen performance at all, you win all 3 games up in Toronto. Now, unfortunately, they didn't. And we told you coming into the night, 24 earned runs and 24 in the 3rd innings, but
19 blown saves. The highest mark in all of Major League Baseball.
As you mentioned, I only saw a little bit of the Scotty Erickson game because I wasn't broadcasting, but pitched well until he gave up that 3-run home run to Delgado opposite field. So he'll pitch tomorrow night against the Boomer. And then Jason Johnson against Joey Hamilton. I like that. The way Johnson's been pitching, you got to like that matchup. And then you got the second best pitcher on the team, Sidney Ponson, who pitched another game, a good game against the Yankees against Kelvin Escobar.
And he can pitch. Another good young pitcher.
But Ponson with an ERA of 2 runs lower than him. So if you're looking for positive matchups, there they are.
We'll be on the Orioles television network to start it tomorrow night, and then here on HTS, the cable home of the Orioles, Wednesday and Thursday. And Tom Davis will be back at work as he'll bring his brand of baseball finery to us with Orioles Report. 7 o'clock Wednesday, 2:30 Thursday. 3-2 pitch. It's bounced foul. Dan Nolte is warming up in the Yankee bullpen behind Jason Grimsley. Grimsley gave up the 2-run home run to Cal Ripken. 395 for Cal, now 5 away from 400. Johnson goes, 3-2 pitch misses. Mike Bordick has walked for the 3rd time tonight. 7 walks issued by Yankee pitching. Here's B.J. Surhoff. 2 more base hits. Nolte was throwing a moment ago. Now either he's ready or he's been told you don't need to stay up, one or the other.
And he pitched yesterday, and doesn't take long to get loose in this weather.
No. How about the night BJ's had? 2 base hits, driven in his 66th run of the year, hitting .340, and with it a 4-1 game, made a tremendous running catch over the shoulder to take away extra bases, and 2 runs easily would have scored. 2 outs when Davis hit the ball.
Yeah, it's 4-3 with a man on second. And Ray Miller probably having to make a pitching change. As it turns out, Mercado hits a home run. It's 6-1.
The dry sinker from Jason Grimsley.
Oh, it acts and reacts like a splitter. It just tumbles down. Four-seamer, you get the backspin. Throw without the seams, it has that tumbling effect. What Cal Ripken hit for the home run was the four-seamer. Aerodynamic, it goes a lot farther. You didn't notice.
Surhoff bounces it behind the plate. You see Dan Morrison telling Joe Girardi it was a foul ball. Well, Dan Nolte has gotten back up. Throw in with Billy Connors down in that bullpen. Correct that. Tony Cloninger down there. I'd have to go find Billy Connors down in the Yankees minor league complex, wouldn't I? Drive to deep center. Long run, Bernie Williams. See you later. B.J. Surhoff has just touched off a long 3-run home run. How much more can you give us, B.J.? Just another terrific night at the plate here against the New York Yankees, as well as that wonderful catch we just told you about.
Well, 5 RBIs yesterday, 4 today, 20th home run. That's 2 from his all-time high. Saved 2 runs, and in this bomb. I thought Bernie Williams was just going to catch this ball like Willie Mays used to do in the Polo Grounds, but I mean, he stopped right here. He's just looking right here, like maybe he has it. No. See you later. Gone. Hasta la bye-bye.
Number 20 on the year for Surhoff. 4 more runs driven in tonight. And the Orioles behind B.J. Surhoff have blown this thing out to a 9-1 lead. Sent many here in the Bronx heading for the exits. Jason Grimsley done. And Joe Torre having conversation with Joe Girardi after Surhoff has launched the long 3-run home run. And we'll be right back as the Orioles have broken out big behind the 9 runs driven in from Surhoff in 2 games. Pretty nice script that gentleman in the middle has written tonight for the Orioles, B.J. Surhoff. Again, we got the final tabulation of the American League voting for the All-Star squad. They give you the top 10. Surhoff, of course, in fan voting, not among them. 10 more outfielders in the American League got more votes than B.J. Surhoff did. And yet, you bet B.J. will be in Boston with the American League All-Stars next Tuesday as we look at Dan Nolte coming on to replace Jason Grimsley.
I came in yesterday and pitched a perfect 9th inning out of the Twins organization.
Albert Bell will be the first hitter to face Nolte in this 9-1 Orioles lead. Bell tonight, base hit in 4 tries. Got a RBI single up the middle in the opening inning against Andy Pettitte. The Oriole bats have done a lot of damage as Bell fouls it off.
Well, yeah, you know why? They get the Moose artillery out. Let's see. Came in averaging for Mike Messina. Of course, he's great to play behind because he pitches well. He pitches quickly. They got him 10 runs on opening day. They got him 9 runs on the 15th of April. 8 runs on the 21st, 8 runs on the 27th, 15 on the 23rd of May, 22 down in Atlanta, 13th of June, 9 tonight, 9 in his last start, and 9 on May 7th. So a lot of run support for Mike. So a great combination of pitching well. You go out there, you get your glove, you don't stand around for very long. You come in, grab your helmet, grab your bat, and go to whacking.
Now the Orioles have done that tonight. Bell fouls it off. And the O's look like they're going to be able to approach the Toronto series feeling a little bit better about themselves after ending that 10-game losing streak. Well, the Jim, after winning 11 of 12 and then turning around and losing 10 in a row, right back with that mountain to climb up to get back to 500 again.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. But after those losses started mounting a little bit, I think it was important to note that because of them, and of course the injuries to DeShields and the bullpen failing, Molina's up here. You're going to get to see him. You're going to get to see Hairston. You might even get to see some other youngsters.
The 1-2 to Bell. Stays up high. Are you pretty convinced that's what might transpire as we enter the second half?
That's not my decision.
No, I'd
like to see it happen. I think it was such a positive thing, late in. I'm going to go back to that '88 season. Talked about it the other night. 21 losses to start the season. Went with a lot of young players. Acquired some more athletic people. But I tell you, yesterday on the Boston Globe, Peter Gammon talking to Kevin Towers he made a very good point. He's a general manager of San Diego. He said when you try to solve all your problems in January, a lot of times, because this is such an uncertain, difficult business to really predict, he said sometimes you get yourself in a maze of long-term contracts that really leave you, I don't want to use a word on the air, but hamstrung, yes. So the Orioles do have some of those problems, but they do have some young talent in minor leagues, and maybe because of the fact that they have underachieved this year, for whatever the reason, they'll get to see some of them.
Yeah.
And that could be a very positive thing. That's what a farm system's for. That's what a lot of your good clubs trades, free agents, and your farm system.
And just speaking for, we talk a lot to Oriole fans, obviously. Enjoy doing it around the city or at the ballpark. I feel that a lot of them would rather enjoy just that very scenario that we described. Taking a look at a lot of these talented young kids that the Orioles are trying to groom to hopefully be fixtures at the major league level.
And then you leave it up to Frank Wren and Bruce Mantle, the general manager and assistant general manager, to make the judicious.
Albert Bell with a shot to left into the corner. Extra bases for Bell.
That is only the 7th double for Albert.
Oh, Bell with a 2-base hit following B.J. Surhoff's long home run. There as the Orioles keep on the merry-go-round in inning number 8. All rights to our baseball telecast tonight here in New York are reserved. Any rebroadcast, recording, retransmission, or other use of all the pictures without the express written permission of the Baltimore Orioles and CBS Cable is solely prohibited. 9-1 O's as we play in inning number 8. Jeff Conine fouls off a Nolte pitch. Jeff had his first base hit last time, but Jim, to continue on that subject we were talking about, you were mentioning with regard to the decision-making process that will have to take place in the Orioles administrative offices with regard, and I think to take a step further with the situation about contracts, a lot of Orioles are in the beginning or the middle of long-term deals, which makes it a little bit more difficult to move them. Some of them need permission to.
5 and 10 year guys, or 10 and 5. And I mean, that's why you have a general manager and an owner and an assistant general manager to make those moves, and also Ray Miller to try to, in your farm system, Tom Trebelhorn to decide who's ready, who's not. You know, sometimes you get rushed to the major leagues. Jerry Hairston may be rushed a little bit because of the injury to Shields, but he's ready defensively, obvious. And as you mentioned, maybe just have to see, can he hit?
Check swing, foul ball
at this level. You know, just think, well, I mean, what if I have ever had a chance to play for 20 years if I hadn't maybe prematurely gotten up when I was 19 years old? So there's Jerry. You'll love his spirit.
Yeah.
Not to mention some of the tools.
He's done a wonderful job stepping in for Delino DeShields. Conine got jammed and popped it up for Derek Jeter. Top number 2 here in the 8th. And of course, Jim, you, as always, this time of year happens. Well, there's been speculation in a lot of areas around the country of interest that might be piqued in other ball clubs in some of those on the Orioles roster. Now, will any of that come to fruition? Again, well, those decisions will be made by the Orioles hierarchy here in the next couple of weeks. Last year, obviously, the decision was made after a 38-50 first half, in which the Orioles were 17 games and a half out. Stay the course coming out of the All-Star break, and the ball club got hot before finally succumbing in late August. This is probably a little bit different, though, this time around.
Well, I think they're a little more deficient in the bullpen. You know, last year they had Alan Mills and et cetera, Benitez, even though he had that emotional loss of poise and composure here back in May. But they were 38-50, right, having lost 3 one-run games here, and then went on a 32-10 streak, only to lose 10 straight.
10 in a row.
Yeah, back on August 23rd through September 2nd.
So we'll see. It's not that far away in terms of starting the second half of the baseball season.
And also that trading deadline on July 31st.
Well, let's face it, as we said, I mean, you go around this Oriole roster, you see a lot of veterans that are probably enticing to a lot of other ball clubs that feel they're that particular position or that particular area of ability.
Yeah, well, the two guys
it may be away.
Yeah, the two guys that come to mind are Jesse Orozco. A lot of people feeling Jesse's velocity is still good, but his location has been horrible and, you know, very tentative. Arthur Rhodes trying to get a long-term contract and not pitching anywhere near he has in past years. So that's a decision the Orioles will have to make. Yet not the ability. I mean, I guess the ability, the raw natural ability is there with Arthur, but the skills have really not been refined as much as you would like. It's still a lot of value because left-handers that throw in the mid-90s are very hard to come by.
On the ground at Derek Jeter. Plays the big hop. We're going to go to the bottom of the 8th. Orioles get 3 more on P.J. Surhoff's 3-run home run. They've blown it open. Lead the Yankees 9-1.
Second tying run, or representing the tying run, and BJ having a great offensive night, great defensive night, but then again in '99, what's new?
Been as good as anybody in the game in this '99 season. Jeff Rabelais has taken over. He's playing third base for the Orioles. Cal Ripken had a big night. Ripken with 2 extra base hits to put him at 1,000 in his career. Double in the second, a long 2-run home run, is 395th of his Major League career in the 6th inning. Well, Gabe Molina's back out and facing Derek Jeter. Ground ball to short. Bordick will throw out Jeter, who even down 8 runs here in the 8th inning, Jim, in full sprint heading to first base.
He's got that 14-game hitting streak, and that's certainly in jeopardy. And the Orioles find, well, maybe it's just one of those nights, but Mike Mussina and Molina able to turn the ball over, keep it not belt high inside, but down and in, and Jeter rolling over on balls, and you don't see that very often.
You mentioned not having a base hit tonight. Derek Jeter doesn't come to the plate again. He's 0 for 4. This will be only the 2nd game of the 79 he's played that he has not reached base safely in some fashion. The other one was on June 6th against the New York Mets, when it ended a run of 53 straight. Well, there's Paul O'Neill, single for 2 turns plus a walk tonight. Look out, Gabe. Bullet base hit center field, Paul O'Neill. And your follow through, Jim, your Gabe Molina, and here comes, you throw it up there 95 and it comes back about 115.
Well, it's that short stroke that O'Neill has been able to master here in New York.
Bernie Williams to the plate. Williams 1 for 3. O'Neill and Williams had back-to-back base hits in the 6th, and at the time it was a 4-1 game. Orioles on top, and that's when Ray Miller went and got Doug Johns. Paid off as Johns got Tino Martinez, and they got a lot of help, though. We just showed it to you. B.J. Surhoff as Chili Davis scorched a ball to the wall in deep left. O'Neill will move up to second as it gets by Charles Johnson. A wild pitch on Gabe Molina.
You know, it's interesting when you go back to that. Doug Johns coming in, make good pitch to Martinez, bad pitch to Davis, and he hits that scorching line drive. And Bruce Mano, the assistant general manager, trying to use a system where you actually they have two or three people watching the game and you rate. So that out is identified as what it was. Not a looper, not a pop fly, not a routine fly ball, but it was a great play. So you can judge pitchers better. You could also judge hitters. I mean, Chili Davis hits it right on the nose. He gets an out, but he had a quality at bat. So they would also be rating him. And that kind of system really makes sense to me. Takes away a lot of the guessing what kind of guy a guy really had. Come in and relief with the bases loaded, and Surhoff makes that kind of play. It just looks like it's an out. But the next year they don't make that play and 3 runs for it.
And then they wonder why the pitcher couldn't get the out.
Right? Exactly.
Well, she got him last year in that situation. 2-0 to Bernie Williams. Slashed foul. Now David Wells, we showed you a little while ago. Boomer will be on the mound in Camden Yards tomorrow night.
And Boomer looked like he was shell-shocked. Had a big lead up in Toronto.
Yep.
And the Orioles
home run ball bit him.
Yeah. Well, it's not Yankee Stadium. Ball carries better there. Not as much room.
Jeff Conine got him, long 2-run home run, and then Mike Bordick broke a 5-5 tie.
And the Boomer, the Boomer doesn't like to pitch in Camden Yards.
No.
Fly ball pitcher. And a home run haven.
That's why you want to come on out tomorrow night. See if the Orioles can get on Boomer Wells. Bernie Williams did not check it. He went too far. So Gabe Molina. It's Bernie Williams. Late breaking slider down under his hand.
That quick breaking ball that we saw when he came in, the first batter he faced was Chad Curtis. He waved at 3 of them. Okay, let's see if he stops his bat. No, not even a chance. Right here, that's your angle. Bat way out in front of home plate. I don't know, batting title or not, Bernie. He struck you out.
Here's Tino Martinez.
Get on the plane. 4 more outs. That boy, Gabe.
You're all pumped up now up here.
Yeah.
Must be the heat.
No, it's a Novocaine.
Oh, that's what it is on
these stitches.
Your war wound today.
Okay, I'm gonna have to do this more often. 9-1.
See,
it's your turn tomorrow.
Oh no, I'm going to stay away from your sort of excitement.
Yeah, I called you. I figured you could help me think of something how I could get to the hospital or the ballpark. And I'm sorry, the Hyatt guest is either on the phone or away from his room. Please leave a message.
I was talking about the open of our show tonight, and you didn't leave a message. You know I would have come charging to your assistance.
Yeah, right. Could have brought the needle and thread from the Hyatt and come right up. And
there you go. I always wanted to try my hand at something like that anyway. The 2-1 pitch forthcoming to Tino Martinez. 3-1.
So these are the counts that Gabe Molina had trouble when he came up for that 22-23 days. He would get behind good hitters. They can look for their pitch, and then all of a sudden he becomes more predictable. Unless you're going to throw a lot of breaking balls, and when you're behind in the count, well, I'm not sure he can do that at 24. A fastball maybe not quite good enough to. And then all of a sudden he knows that, so he thinks I got to make the perfect pitch. Not able to make it, and with a 9-1 lead, the last thing you want to do is walk somebody.
Well, 2 on now with 2 out. Bruce Keeson is on his way out to the mound and have a chat with young Gabe Molina. the situation that Doug Johns was in the 6th inning, as we've been talking about. Maybe the turning point of this one tonight. The difference was the lead was 4-1 at the time, with Davis at the plate as a right-handed hitter with 2 on. And was O'Neill and Williams aboard at that time.
But again, that meeting, go back to that meeting on Friday night. I think the frustrating thing for Ray Miller obviously is the result, but also the way the bullpen has gotten around to those results. A lot of guys hit, and he gave us that number, what, 109 innings, 191 hits, 159 hits innings, 109 walks, and 26 guys hit by pitches, and then 190 hits. So it's like 330 base runners going into Friday night's game. It became very annoying to Ray. So let's be more aggressive. Let's get ahead in the count if you can.
Two-0 now on Chili Davis. John Maroon, the Orioles PR chief, stopped by to tell us that Mike Messina's first win at Yankee Stadium was the 26th of May, 1993, and that was his first career start here. And last 6 starts in the regular season, 0-4 from Messina. Mike on the verge of getting his first win. Davis, fly ball left field. Much easier chance this time for B.J. Surhoff. Inning over. We're heading to the 9th. Orioles with a big 9-1 lead. HCS coverage of Orioles baseball has been brought to you tonight by Southwest Airlines. They have fares so low you have the freedom to go places. By Geico Direct, the sensible alternative. So by Advance Auto Parts, the best part is our people. By Heineken, it's all about the beer. Heineken. And by Bell Atlantic, wild things are happening. Bell Atlantic, see you there. On a steamy, sultry night at Yankee Stadium tonight, the Orioles on top of the New York Yankees 9-1 as we head to the top of the 9th. Jay Bellinger will take over for Derek Jeter at shortstop. Also, Jeff Manto, who was picked up when Shane Spencer went on the DL with the regular heartbeat on the Cleveland Indians, and Ricky Leday takes over in right field for Paul O'Neill. A lot of changes here to start the 9th. Jeff Rebelay is at the plate for the Orioles, who own the 9-1 lead. Rebelay took over for Cal Ripken. Jeff, a 200 hitter on the year.
Really a dilemma for the Orioles. What do you do when DeShields comes back? You send Hairston back for more seasoning. Jeff Rebelay has done an outstanding job, but obviously a better hitter against left-handers. You get those matchups as we've seen in the past. Just not a lot of left-handed starters in the American League anymore. I mean, this is the only 16th game. You would 81st game for the Orioles.
Yeah.
16th start against left-handers. That their starting pitcher has gone out there that threw with from the southpaw side.
Jerry Hairston, Jim has said everything we've talked about, extolling what he's brought to the ball club. Speed, excitement, spark. Can certainly play the position, but he has options. And where would you go to get another spot to keep both Hairston and Rebelay when DeShields comes back? I mean, where else would you go in the ball club to pick an area that you could keep all 3 of them?
Well, you have to drop a pitcher from
Sure. Just lifted up the line and left. Bellinger and the third baseman Manto there. It'll be Clay Bellinger to make the grab.
And of course you have duplicity in the sense that you have two reserve infielders, I suppose, unless you're going to platoon Hairston and DeShields. And once again, 16 left-handed starters out of 81 games. Hairston would not get a lot of opportunity to play. So started right here with Lou Gehrig.
Yeah.
Wally Pipp.
That was a breaking ball for the called strike.
It was a shame because DeShields starting to hit and show us some of those skills that made the Orioles give him that 3-year contract. I think over the long run, though, it would be nice to see Harrison have a full year at AAA and see what he can do. Not only, he's not going to hit a lot of home runs, but he's hitting .268 down there with 6 home runs, 28 RBIs, and stole 14 bases. Certainly had an opportunity to find out what it takes to play at the big leagues. So then you go down there and work on those little nuances and skills you have to be able to master to come back up here. Because otherwise it's a guessing game. You know, they can tell you all you want, but till you go out there and you face Cone and you face El Duque.
It's sharply on one hop. Bellinger will backhand and show a strong arm to throw out Hairston. Jerry made a bid for a base hit. He said, wait a minute, Jeter left the game. But Bellinger made the backhanded pick and threw out Hairston.
Yeah, no difference. Mano at third, Bellinger, who was actually going to be sent down, but because of the irregular heartbeat by the left fielder Shane Spencer, they keep Bellinger here. They had claimed Manto off waivers. They want a little more pop in their lineup, somebody that can come in off the bench against lefties, and Mano can do that, hit home runs. Johnson with a drive to the gap, deep right center, long run. Ricky Leday can't get there. One hops the wall at the 385 mark. A long opposite field double for Charles Johnson, his second hit of the night in 3 tries. Opposite field power from the Orioles catcher. So 2 for 3 with 2 walks. And we've seen this when he's hitting well. He stays on the ball away, hanging, breaking ball. It stays up. Leday can't run it down, but Williams will. 2-out double. 10th extra base hit of the year for Charles. Brady Anderson. To the called strike. Nice night for Brady. He's been on base 3 times. The other 2 times he hit rockets right at Chuck Knobloch. Strikes on Anderson as he fouls it off. The Orioles busted this one open with 2 in the 7th inning and then 3 more in the 8th. About as quiet as we've heard Yankee Stadium, Jim. I would say in the last, what, 3-4 years? Well, normally not a lot going on here right at the moment. But coming into yesterday, the last 25 games, the Orioles had lost 20. Yeah. And many of them close, but the bottom line is the Yankees won 20 of 25 before yesterday. Drive, it's right at Clay Bellinger. Brady Anderson went out tonight 3 times, all on line drives. Bottom of the ninth next, 9-1 Orioles. B.J. Surhoff, a stellar weekend here on the 4th of July. Yesterday, Ramiro Mendoza taking on a ride, grand slam, home run, part of a 5 RBI day. And Jim, tonight, one more shot, this one to dead center. Well, the ball, I mean, jumping here at Yankee Stadium, great swings yesterday, the grand slam with one hand. This ball, you know, he's just seeing the ball, staying behind it, and not only with the glove and the bat, everything. Heineken star of the game, B.J. Surhoff, 20 home runs on the year, career high of 22 last year. You know, I think Joe Torre would have said, just send me your resume. Did you have to do the number you did on us? And the resume would have sufficed for Monsieur Torre here this weekend. Mike Figa has taken over behind the plate now. He'll catch the bottom of the ninth. Charles Johnson. And Rocky Coppinger is going to look to get the final 3 outs. Now Coppinger takes over here in the bottom of the ninth. Orioles with the 9-1 lead. Yankees got a run in the opening inning. And that has been all. Mike Messina and his successors out of the bullpen shut things down. Orioles about hit the Yanks 13-7. So it's Rocky Coppinger to try to finish this one out. Came in on Friday night Orioles trailing by 1 and walked a couple of guys, and that's right after that meeting that Ray Miller had. A chance right now to close this game out. Ray Miller said, listen, you're going to get an opportunity to pitch. I don't care if you rip me in the paper. The bottom line is show me something. It's real simple. I'm going to give you the responsibility to go out there and get the job done. So let's see if he can do it. Not just tonight with a rather ample lead, but can you do it over the course? And it's a tough acclimation to do if you're a starting pitcher, but especially when you have a history of not taking care of yourself. I mean, you really have to have self-discipline to go from a starting pitcher to a bullpen. But the stuff is there. Can he make the pitches? And he's got the velocity, he's got the breaking balls, but can he make quality pitches often enough to pitch here at the major league level?
Now, what Jim is referring to, of course, Rocky voiced his opinion about Ray Miller in terms he didn't feel that he was in the plans of the manager. Long run for Brady Anderson to make the grab, running toward the diamond on Chad Curtis's short fly ball to center.
Well, actually, what happened, I guess also what happened, they were going to send him out, and then if you get, I don't know what the actual terminology of the rule was, if you get technicality where Brady will come in and gets a pretty good jump on that ball hit off the end of the bat. But if you're sent out 3 years between the first time you were sent out, then you can't be sent out again. So Rocky packing his bags, and all of a sudden he wasn't packing his bags.
No, he got a call at home. Was told to come on back to the ballpark. And ironically, he had just on his way out, or what he thought was his way out, expressed his views of how he saw the situation that time as far as being used by Ray Miller. Jeff Manto is making his first plate appearance as a New York Yankee. Picked up off the waiver wire from the Cleveland Indians. You talk about stickers on the suitcase. Well, this guy's been all over the place in professional baseball.
Well, yeah, amazing thing, he got up 25 times in those 12 games, got 5 hits. It was 200 batting average, but he walked 11 times, so his on-base percentage. I don't remember him as a guy, even though the count's 3-1, that walked that much. He went up there, he was a dead pull hitter. And then and down at AAA, 16 home runs in 48 games, and that's why they got him, because he can hit the long ball. Big swing, as you can see. Loves the ball out over the plate, wants to pull it. Better fastball hitter, even though he doesn't get this one. And again, if you can throw your fastball down the middle to a good fastball hitter, you got a good one. That's what he did.
Towering fly ball to left. Plenty of room for Surhoff. The O's are 1 out of the way here in the bottom of the 9th.
Some different names. Kamenicki to close it out yesterday for his 3rd save. Johns, Molina, and Coppinger tonight. A much more substantial lead.
Oh, there's Joe Girardi with the bases empty and 2 down. Now, the Orioles will finish it up here in the Bronx this year, having won 3 times of the 7 games played between the 2 ball clubs. Swept here last year as the Yankees won all 6. Tardy on the Coppinger fastball. Tomorrow night, right back home, the O's will get on the charter, take the short hop down to Baltimore, and get ready for the Toronto Blue Jays. One-two pitch. Grounded boarding should do it. for the second straight day. Let's put this one to the Orioles as they have split the series here over the 4th of July weekend with the resounding win, paced again by B.J. Surhoff. Mike Messina with his 10th win of the year as the Orioles close down the New York Yankees, the final at 9-1. So now it's back home for Ray Miller and the guys as they finish up the road trip by going 2-5 on the week-long trip. Orioles baseball has been a presentation of CBS Cable, the Baltimore Orioles, and Major League Baseball. Stay tuned. Fox Sports News is coming up next here on HTS. For all of our terrific crew who have helped us all weekend long here in hot New York City, and for Jim Palmer, I'm Michael Reghi. Orioles a winner tonight. We'll talk to you tomorrow from Oriole Park. Till then, so long, everybody.